Enter the Citgo Peel Out, Reel In, and Win $1 Million Challenge for a chance to win $1 million and a host of other great prizes. By Pontiac, can you handle a Pontiac Grand Prix? And by Smirnoff Ice, intelligent nightlife.
Kevin LePage going into the wall at turn 3 has put us under the 3rd caution of the afternoon. Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd, Ricky Craven, Mark Martin are the front 5 after pit stops. And Matt Kenseth had quite a race with Ricky Craven for position on pit road. Now here's Craven leaving his pit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a victim of about 40-something cars being on pit road. I mean, look at there. It's only so wide, guys. But Ricky Craven decided better not to tear his front end off and give up a few positions. We want to show you why people came in where they went and where they left. The big key, Jimmy Johnson, 15.3 right there, comes in first, leading first. But look at this pit stop by Matt Kenseth's group, 14.8. But the loser, Sterling Martin, slow pit stop, slow pit road. But what I like about Jimmy Johnson, he's leading the race. He's pitting at the end of pit road. He has a clear pit road coming in. He can just leave. Here's his pit box right here. He just has to leave there, and he beats everybody off pit road. Nobody to block him in. Plus, he's leading the race. It's a clear road coming down there at 45 miles an hour.
And we got 1 to go here. And that's 17 car. I tell you, if they got to win it, if they can win it in the pits as fast as they are.
Today's Track Fact brought to you by the Insider Pizza from Pizza Hut. Lowe's Motor Speedway, been here since 1959. It now holds 167,000 people. That lighting system went in 92 to allow night racing. And they laughed when Humpy Wheeler and Bruton Smith offered condominiums in 1984, but now they're sold out and worth $500,000 apiece. Jolie Johnson won the first Winston Cup race here 42 years ago.
Yeah, I could have had the first condo down there. I won the race that year in '85, and he said, you can have your pick. I said, nobody's going to, $75,000, I think it was. Nobody's going to buy a condo at a racetrack.
I think they laughed when he decided to try to light a 1.5 mile racetrack. Now they don't even build a racetrack that don't have lights. Look at there, Mike. Look what they want.
They want us to crank it up on the restart. So if you have surround sound at home, you know what to do.
Crank it up.
On the restart, Ryan Newman pulled out ahead of Jimmy Johnson, so Newman back on the lead lap as you look back from 6th place. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Ryan Newman's car looks pretty good right now. He's actually pulling away, but I still believe, knowing how good that 48 car Jimmy Johnson is, I'd like to see a caution pretty quick, where I'm guaranteed to get my lap back.
Yeah, and then folks, you're probably saying, man, he went a lap down. His car was terrible. All you got to do is bring it in there, put a little wedge in it, drop that track bar, maybe a little air pressure adjustment, and you go from terrible to being the guy, the man, the new man.
I'll tell you, another car that has been moving up all day long. Look here at the Fox tracks. John Andretti, 3 seconds, almost 4 seconds behind the leader. He's in 9th, but he started back in 28th position in that Dodge. And you know, there wasn't but about 2 Dodges that started in the top 25, but John has been marching forward during this race. He was very happy with his car in that morning practice yesterday when track conditions were more like they are now.
I think it's that paint job, but I think that silver bullet's fixing to go right by him.
Sterling Marlin, out of Columbia, Tennessee, 44 years old, the Winston Cup point leader. Just sailed on past, and Marlin moves up to 9th. That begins to close on Tony Stewart.
Got Joe Nemechek coasting slowly into the pits in the 25 car.
And Mike Skinner, you saw him in that 4 car. Here's Joe Nemechek on pit road. This is his first points race in this 25 car. Jerry Nadeau driving it up to this point before the Winston. But we were looking back there just a second ago behind this group. A guy that has marched forward is Kurt Busch in that 97 car. Remember, he brought that first caution out, and he's worked his way back up to 12th position. Mike Skinner in the 4 car right here now. He's a lap down, fighting up there trying to get his lap back, but he's losing ground fast.
Rudd and Martin pulling in on Craven. Martin's number 6, Rudd the 28. Craven's bright orange 32. And that's a race for 3rd place. Matt Kenseth, 0.4 of a second behind Jimmy Johnson and closing. Dick Berggren.
Well, he started this race in 21st, Mike. He is now running in 2nd. He picked up 4 of those spots on the last round of pit stops. And Darrell Waltrip is right. This is an incredible pit crew. But there's more than that to Kenseth's success on pit road. The rest of it is his crew chief, Robbie Reiser. Between Kenseth and crew chief Reiser, they consistently make the right adjustments when he pits. This morning in the truck, Reiser told me that will be the secret to winning this race tonight. If all night long, together, they can make the right adjustments. To Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, that caution flag on lap 70 couldn't have come at a better time for Tony Stewart. In fact, he had just told his crew, if I don't get a caution, I'm going to be the caution. I'm loose everywhere. So what they did, they made a track bar adjustment. They also pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear spring. Each car has 4 springs. This should help the 20 car handle for Tony Stewart. Let's go to Matt Yocum.
Steve Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 Budweiser car came in 3rd, went out 6th, and restarted from 6th. The reason he lost those spots on pit road, Steve Wolf, the rear air gunner, had a trouble with his air impact gun. 16.30-second stop. Junior said the car was tight in the middle of the corner. That's his main concern. The car was also loose off. Junior feels that will change when the sun goes down. They made a track bar adjustment on the team's first stop. They made a wedge adjustment on the last, trying to fix that tight in the center of the corner.
Ricky Rudd had some comments in the paper upset about all the attention being paid to NASCAR's young guns. Well, Rudd is stirring the pot right here as he battles Ricky Craven for 3rd place.
We had a great run in California, you know, and we know Ricky can get the job done. We've seen him do it time and time again. Last year, he was a championship contender. Got off to a slow start this year. Problem with these young guns is there's 10 of them.
I talked to Michael Fatback McSwain, his crew chief. I said, what car have you got here? Is this a new car? He said, Larry, this is the oldest car in the house. He said, in fact, you probably worked on it when you were a crew chief there.
When Ricky Rudd's streak of 656 consecutive starts began, Kurt Busch, the driver of the 97, was 2 years old.
Wow. Pretty amazing. Since 1981, folks, that man has been behind the wheel of a race car every weekend.
And back then, Darrell, there were no provisionals. Here are some of the not-so-young guns. And you have to start the car to be classed as the driver. And that's not always easy if you're hurt.
Boy, that 17 car, Larry, just keeps clipping away there, just nipping away a little bit at a time, right up on the back of that 48 car. And I know Newman wants them to start racing each other soon if they would.
Because they are closing in on him, trying to put him back a lap down in the 12 car.
Car looks 100% better than it did, though. He's a contender now if he can just stay on the lead lap for a while.
But Jimmy Johnson's all over the back. Looked like he was a little bit loose. The tail wanting to come around in 3 and 4. Jimmy Johnson running up behind him, takes the air off his wrist form and makes him even looser.
Well, this is not a battle for position, but this is the Rookie of the Year battle up there as Johnson, 26, Newman, 24 years old, and here right behind them, the battle for 3rd. Who are we talking about? Rudd, Craven?
Got a race.
Here we go for the lead.
And Matt Kenseth in the 17, he got such a run off turn 2 a while ago because Ryan Newman was holding Jimmy Johnson up.
And Jimmy Johnson has to be careful. I mean, you sure don't want to take yourself out racing somebody that's a lap down. Pretty impressed with that 48 car, though. That bad boy gets better as we go along.
The leader's clear, Ryan Newman.
Rudd kind of sitting there eyeballing this whole thing. Got that old veteran look to him. You boys race each other. I'm watching.
Meanwhile, Jeremy Mayfield has taken his car to the garage. 87 laps complete.
We need your help, Mr. Hayes.
my twin brother with CIA.
We need you to stand in.
Fox welcomes you back live to Lowe's Motor Speedway, and some of the fans looking on. Part of what makes this holiday weekend so special, they can win $1 million themselves if the driver that they're connected to as part of the Noble 5 wins this race. And that driver would win $1 million, but Jeff Hammond, as we take a look, Jeremy Mayfield has just parked it after getting too loose. So the Noble 4, we can call them now, and none of these drivers have won the $1 million bonus, or I should say have won the $1 million bonus only once. No Noble 5 participant has won this race.
Yeah, that really has been the case, but we still got some guys that are really running strong right now with Mark Martin and Tony Stewart, for example, along with Sterling Marlin. All these guys still have excellent opportunities to, bring home somebody $1 million today along with themselves. As
Jimmy Johnson continues to lead and has led most of the laps. And right now, let's go to Dick Bergen, who's standing by. We'll get an update here on Jeremy Mayfield being off the track. Dick?
Well, Jeremy had it all figured out, Chris. Yesterday, he had arrived at the conclusion that since tomorrow is his 33rd birthday, he'd just go ahead and win the race. Inspection would be over just about in time for midnight or so. That would be his birthday. That would be his birthday present. You need a better birthday present, my friend. What happened to this car?
Well, I'm not sure. We were good in practice the other day and got a little loose there at the beginning and lost it and thought, man, maybe just too loose. But evidently there's something else wrong. I mean, this thing is so loose, can't even drive, and we've tightened it up and did a lot of things to it, and it's not responding. So we'll do our best to get this dog dealer's dodge back out there and make some laps there.
Okay, he's not giving up, Mike Joy.
No, he's not. Sterling Marlin, our point leader, working toward the front, just past Tony Stewart for 8th. We've had 3 cautions, Kurt Busch, Mayfield, and Kevin LePage. But Jimmy Johnson, the pole sitter, has led 85. He's led all but 12 laps so far.
And he doesn't seem to be checking up a whole lot, although that 17 car is eating that back bumper up right now.
We need to explain how those 5 drivers became eligible for this No Bull 5 to win $1 million. It's the top 5 finishers from the last No Bull race at Las Vegas a couple of months ago. Regardless of what happens here tonight, the top 5 finishers from this race will be eligible for the last race on Fox in July at Daytona.
And the way they paired those drivers with the fans that will each have a chance to win $1 million, they had a tractor-trailer slalom course set up here, and those 5 Winston Cup drivers had to drive an international tractor with a full 50-foot-long trailer. Boy, that was a sight.
In 1985, argument Winston came with the Winston Million. You won Daytona, Charlotte, Darlington, or the Winston 500 at Talladega. That driver could win $1 million. And that was only one driver eligible most every year. So they wanted to spread that around a little bit.
Guys, the car we have to continue to watch is Kurt Busch in this 97 car. Remember, he had to start at the rear of the field because of changing the engines this week. Then he was back at the rear of the field after spinning out on lap 10. He has marched his way back up to the 12th position. So like his teammate Matt Kenseth in that 17, Roush, they have a fast race car with this car.
See a lot of Fords finding their way into the top 10.
That's true. One of those Roush cars that had trouble, though, Jeff Burton, during our last commercial break, made a pit stop under the green flag. So Burton, the defending champ of this race, is now finding himself 2 laps down.
They went on and changed 4 tires. He thought he had a tire going down, and that's not a bad move. If that car gets real loose or real tight, something's going wrong. It's not going to fix itself.
Can't win it if you wreck it.
Well, we're a quarter of the way there, 100 of 400 laps. So now let's go to the man who parachuted in and beat all the traffic here, but he's going to have to fight it going home like everybody else. Jeff Hammond.
Oh, come on, Mike. I thought maybe they'd give me a lift back out, too. But I wanted to point out that Jeff Burton's situation right there may be okay if it goes full cycle and these guys have to make green flag stops. He could find himself back on the lead lap, and there we see Ryan Newman right there having problems. Looks like he may have lost an engine right there, and he's trying to get down out of the way. Hopefully caution is out.
We were just commenting during the last break, Darrell, that car was really flying down the straightaway. And what's the old adage? They run their best twin?
Yeah, I just think he pulls a lot of gear in that engine, with that car, and he's turned a lot of RPM. I think that's probably what got him already. See him go down into turn 1 here. She's putting a little smoke out there. Parts are starting to... Things are starting to rattle around in there.
And he makes that left-hand turn straight to the garage area. And this is about the 4th engine failure these guys have had this year. I know one of them was because they had a hole in the radiator at Martinsville, but it wasn't that many races ago, 7 or 8 races. He was in the top 5 in points.
It's our 4th caution flag of the day.
Young drivers are hard on engines. They just drive the heck out of it. Don't let them breathe much.
I'd say pit road will be very busy. It's been about 30 laps. You see our Fox tracks. We're going to follow Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Matt Kenseth in the 17, Ricky Rudd in the 28. And again, I'm sure these boys will be coming down pit road for adjustments in 4 tires. Isn't that neat? We have the Fox tracks. You can see the car number. You can see the name. You can see where these guys are exactly at on the racetrack and on pit road.
Here they come.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Matt Kenseth's car is a real good race car today. He has called the adjustments that he wants in this car. They're going to change the air pressure in the right front by a half a pound. That's to try to make the car turn a little bit better. And they're also going to take a half a turn into the left rear of the car. Same deal to Steve.
Well, Dick, Ricky Rudd, the new Ironman, no chassis adjustments. He likes the sport just the way it is. 4 tires, Bobby Burrell and Ray Holmes changing tires to Matt Yoakum.
Jimmy Johnson says as the night goes on, his car gets tighter and tighter on entry into turn 1. They put 1 pound of air pressure back into the left front as he's finally down and away. They also talked about a wedge adjustment. He says, no, Kenseth will beat everybody off pit road.
You know what, Larry? If that 17 car was pitting in Jimmy Johnson's pit, he might be able to lap some people in the pits.
I mean, he's pitting way back up pit road about pit 25. He has to deal with cars coming in, cars going out. Looks like Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, a little trouble on the right side.
Another great pit stop by Matt Kenseth's Robbie Reiser-led crew.
And what did you do this weekend?
Fox welcomes you back to the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600. Double duty for the singular driver, Robbie Gordon, after the Indy 500. Our own Jeff Hammond beating the traffic in the Ironman. Ricky Rudd, a record 656 consecutive starts. Kurt Busch, Jeremy Mayfield learning that things were tough early over this 600-mile race. Kevin LePage losing an engine into the wall. Ryan Newman also a blown engine. Remember, he finished in this race, last year. As we're getting ready to go from the Hollywood Hotel, along with the former crew chief, Jeff Hammond. I'm Chris Myers. Glad to have you watching along with us this holiday weekend. Let's get a quick overview. Matt Kenseth has now taken the lead. Jimmy Johnson, the rookie, starting on the pole, has led most of the way, but it's very early in this long, grueling run.
Yeah, what we got to kind of watch here, Chris, as this sun starts to drop down. What's going to be interesting is the track temperature, how these cars respond to it early on. Definitely, Jimmy Johnson's got the car to beat, but this is 600 miles, baby. Still got a long ways to go.
All right, pit stops are critical, and let's go check with the Larry McReynolds to get an update on that. Larry?
Well, I mean, we talk about races being won and lost on pit road. The guys leading this race right now, Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd, there's the common denominator. Look at Jimmy Johnson was leading our race. Now, what this road is right here, that's time spent on pit road, which includes a pit stop. Everybody has to maintain 45 miles an hour, but you can get blocked in. But I think that's one reason Jimmy Johnson, his pit stop was so bad. He don't have an opportunity to get blocked in. A lot of trouble on the right side.
105 laps, 157 miles complete. There is Matt Kenseth. Look at, he has gained a total of 12 positions with his pit stop. 7 on the first, 4 on the second, and 1 on the third. That's what's put him into the lead. Here's where our Coke family of drivers is running at quarter distance. Ricky Rudd in second, Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip all up in the top 10.
They're all doing a pretty good job tonight.
Andretti and Elliott in the top 20. Steve Park, Bobby Labonte.
You know, Mike, things go better with Coke.
Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton, and Kevin Harvick. Pace car will pull in this time. Lead lap cars in the outside lane. Cars 1 or more laps down, led by Jeff Burton, who made a green flag pit stop in the bottom lane. Now, Kenseth and Burton are teammates. Let's see what happens on this restart.
One thing these guys all learned from the Winston the other night, they've learned to get a little bit better restart because they're all spinning the tires over here the other night.
Well, Matt Kenseth in that 17 gets quite a run up there on the high side. Keeps that motor wound up there, especially on a restart on the high side of the racetrack.
Got a great run down in the corner, which allowed him to get it, back to the throttle quick.
And I'm a little surprised his Roush Racing teammate, Jeff Burton, was not able to get one of his laps back.
But how about that other Roush Racing teammate, Mark Martin, in that 6 car? He's on the march. Another one of those no bull 5. I can win 1 million. My fan can win 1 million cars.
That 99 car just isn't all that good right now. As a matter of fact, he get knocked around a little bit. 25 car got into him, knocked him sideways.
You need to remember how he went a lap down, was having to make that unscheduled green flag stop not that many laps ago for thinking he had a flat tire.
Yeah, normally your car just handles so badly that you think all your tires are flat.
And it put Jeff Burton, the defending champion of this race, 2 laps down. Now, Sterling Marlin. Dick Bergman.
Well, Sterling Marlin is currently running in 6th spot, Mike, but he had a problem in the pit stop. Fuel can was late getting in, and they don't want to tell me whether or not they got all the fuel in. Our suspicion is they probably don't, because if they did, they'd have said they got it all in. Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Ricky Craven running in the 5th position. He said his car was tight off the corner, means it didn't want to turn, so they took a half a pound out of the right rear tire and took half a spring rubber out of the left rear spring. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, the 15 car, Michael Waltrip, restarted in the 9th position. Slugger Labby, Michael's crew chief, told me that the car was very good at the beginning of the run, but then it would progressively go tight in the center of the corner, middle to the off. So they made an air pressure adjustment, up a half a pound in the right rear, but he has faded a little bit since that restart.
Jeff Burton on the outside of Jimmy Spencer. Michael Waltrip looking in along with Hermie Sadler.
It makes me nervous when they add air to the right rear tire, because all you end up doing is making that tire mad. It'll just build up more air pressure, make the car even more loose.
So what they're trying to do is make that spring think it's stiffer, helps the car turn on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, but I don't, messing with my right rear tire makes me nervous.
Ricky Rudd in the Robert Yates 28, 45 years old. Now the holder of NASCAR's Ironman record. He took it from Terry Labonte, who took it some years ago from the King, Richard Petty. And here's Rudd looking for his first win of the season, tracking leader Matt Kenseth.
He's making Matt Kenseth nervous right now.
Guys, got a couple of fellers there that know how to win this race up there battling for the lead right now. That 28 and that 6. Mark Martin had a strong car over here in the Winston the other night till the engine blew up in it. And, buddy, I tell you, I had good feelings about Mark Martin tonight for this race.
Everybody clear. He opened the door for Mark Martin in the 6th car, and they're going to kick Matt Kenseth in the 17 all the way back to 3rd.
Martin's last win, Martinsville, Virginia, April of 2000, 73 races ago. He has 3 wins here, but all in the fall race. This is his 19th try to win the Spring Classic.
Mark is just really, really consistent. When he's got a car he's comfortable with, he's just a consistent performer. He doesn't push the issues. Takes what the track gives him, takes what the car gives him, takes what the competition gives him until it comes time to go. I think he's anxious to get to the front tonight, though. Man, he cut that thing. That looked like he did several years ago in the Busch car. Cut that thing underneath there off turn 4, makes the pass.
Gets that car out there in clean air right now.
When you can cut down off a turn 4 like that, you can motor on, boys.
Well, if your car's not wanting to turn behind another car, because a lot of times it won't, you lose the front downforce. If you can get that left front fender out from behind that car, get air on it, it will help that car turn down to the bottom.
Here's my favorite shot right here.
Because once you've lost that front downforce behind that car, when you get that left front out there, it puts air pressure back on that left front corner, and the left front corner is the one that makes the car turn.
Yeah, you don't want to come off the corner with the left front all reared up in the air, because it just takes air up under the front of the car, and it'll just make the front end take off. Very difficult to drive. Show them what you're talking about,
Let's show you the downforce animation. This is front downforce. It's mainly on the nose, the front fender area. There's that left front fender area I was talking about. Rear downforce is in the rear, mainly on this rear spoiler. And it's always a challenge to get, you want as much as you can on both ends, but getting it balanced. Not too much rear, make the car not turn, not too much front, make the car loose.
If you look at the front of these cars as they're coming in, look at that left front fender. It's a big old fat ugly fender. And the right one is real skinny and kind of towed in. The left one is real fat and towed out. See how far out it sticks?
But if you make the right front too big, yeah, it'll help the car to turn, but it puts that downforce on the right front corner and will make it loose. Plant that right front, get in the corner, make it loose getting in the corner.
Ricky Rudd back under Mark Martin for the lead. Same way Martin got it is the way he lost it.
Yeah, he might have just wanted to lead a lap, and he'll let Ricky set the pace a while.
3 Fords at the front of the field. Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, and pole sitter Jimmy Johnson Chevrolet and Ricky Craven.
The Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox is brought to you by Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
122 laps complete. Our Subway race summary. 11 lead changes among 7 different leaders. 32 of the 43 starters are on the lead lap. We've had 4 caution flags for just 17 laps.
One thing that happens, you know, with these cautions, the leaders is, you know, the same guys are still up front, but they're not catching up with the rear of the field as quickly as they were, because these guys back here can keep making adjustments. They get their cars better. They can keep up better.
You know, Jeff, you were talking about track conditions and track temperature just a little bit ago, and right now we're going through that one transition. The sun is behind the grandstands, but it's still daylight. But, Jeff, this track has cooled down almost 20 degrees, but we still have one major transition to go through. That's when it turns completely dark. No sunlight at all, and that's when it'll really start to change.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Larry. And one thing I want to point out right now, we're talking about Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth back on our restart lap 108. They ran their fastest laps of this race on lap about 112. All 3 of these guys ran a whole lot faster. Again, saying the racetrack's starting to cool down, speeds are starting to pick up, and these guys who have made it through that early transition period are hanging in there really tight as we see the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson go past Mark Martin. But I feel like these boys up the front, you know, especially Ricky Rudd, they know how to run these long races. They know how to pace themselves. And again, making the right changes as this temperature starts to come around is starting to work in their favor.
Ricky Rudd ran his first race here more than a quarter century ago. Matt Kenseth tracking Rudd now by 9/10 of a second. Dick Bergman.
Well, shortly after the pit stop, Mike Kenseth dropped from first to third. He came on the radio and told his crew that he simply could not keep up with those Yates cars. That would be Ricky Rudd in car number 28. Robbie Reiser told him, just settle back, get comfortable. Remember, this is a long, long race. Their strategy, keep all the fenders on it until the end.
Big Jeff Gordon is a 3-time Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 winner, now climbed up to 8th on the pylon. Robbie Lewis, what did you guys do to get that car back into the race?
Well, this pit crew's just done an incredible job. One of the biggest things is weather's changing a lot right now. Sun going down behind the grandstand. We've been working with the panhard bar and wedge, tire pressure. We've been doing it all trying to get back up there.
They also are having ice packs ready because Gordon said he was getting a little bit hotter in that race car. Dr. Scott McNair, the Hendrick team physician, is doing that. Last year, how stout is this gentleman? Last year, he made a $5,000 Nike for Shane Parson, now a tire changer on the 25, who broke his foot. When he was done with a piece of spoiler and carbon fiber, he could kick the wall, and he didn't feel a thing.
Boy, Sterling is in, he battled along there with Kurt Busch quite a bit here. Sterling moved up to the high side. Busch been able to get under him. Hadn't necessarily been able to pass him. You know, one thing I think we need to kind of pay attention to here, the 88 car, he's been lingering around back in the pack back here. We haven't said a word about him. But I want to tell you something. Bat back and Ricky Rudd, Todd Parrott, and Dale Jarrett, Robert Yates, that whole crowd, maybe they learned a lesson last year, Mike. Maybe last year they peaked too early. Last year they were championship contenders. This year they've gotten off to a slow start, but maybe they're going to come on strong at the end of the year. But I wouldn't take my eye off of Jarrett if I were you. I've seen him do this time and time again, haven't you, Mike? Have you, Larry?
And here he sits in 24th place. But you're right, Darrell. The important thing is he's on the lead lap. I want to say hello to Dale's dad, 2-time Winston Cup champ Ned Jarrett. Had to go in for some rather emergency heart surgery, but everything is okay. And Ned's home resting. Wish he could be at the racetrack with us today.
This is some ice packs. You heard them talking about getting them ready for Jeff Gordon. And what a lot of times they'll do, Darrell, is kind of stick them down.
Trouble, turn one. A car cuts down a tire and hits the wall. It's Ward Burton.
Caution is on the Speedway.
Well, Ward has just had a miserable night. He just couldn't, he had trouble in the pits, had trouble with the car, now he hits the wall.
Nobody's really getting their lap back. Ricky Rudd takes the caution flag.
That's a hard hit for Ward Burton.
Oh, yeah, when you see that right front stoved up under the firewall like that, that's a hard lick.
Their team tested up at Thompson, Connecticut this week with multiple Busch North and modified champ Mike Stefanik driving, helping crew chief Tommy Baldwin with some experimental setups. There were a lot of...
Come down if you can roll, buddy.
There were a lot of sparks under Ward's car before it got to the wall, Darrell. From it looked, I would guess the right front, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, he probably cut a tire down. We'll take a look at it here, and we'll see what we can see what happened. Yeah, well, that's pretty indicative of a right front tire. Plus, you can see the fender over there was already blown up as he went down into the corner. So tire come apart.
And they are saying that he did blow a tire, and he was 52 laps down. He was just out there trying to make laps after losing that cylinder early in the race.
Hey, we've had a lot of great racing on the track, but you know what? This thing's going to turn into a pit crew race before the night's over with.
The best pit stop times of the night have been Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth, as they will trail leader Ricky Rudd onto pit road.
See, our Fox tracks will follow Ricky Rudd, 28. He'll peel off. Jimmy Johnson, to 48. Remember, he'll come all the way to the end of pit road. And Matt Kenseth with that World Championship pit crew that gets him out first almost every stop. Dick Berger. They're going to put 4 tires in it, 2 cans of fuel, put a round and a quarter of wedge in the left rear to try to tighten the automobile up. Kenseth dashed on the racetrack. The crew dashed on pit road. To Steve Burns.
Dick, Ricky Rudd in. Crew chief Michael Fatback McSwain said, tell me about your car. He said, just slap those tires on and make sure my windshield is clean. Let's go to Matt Yocum.
Jimmy Johnson's car was a little bit goofy loose on entry into 3 as Matt Kenseth will get beat off here by the 28. Jimmy Johnson will try to get him. It's going to be close. They made a wedge adjustment. Ricky Rudd's going to get him.
When the car runs better, the driver performs better, everything goes better. The pit crew does a better job when you run up front.
The whole package pumps everybody up.
Here's the race off of pit road. Johnson has that preferred position,
This
but
is
he's
the line
not up
right
to
here.
speed. So you saw Rudd beating him with Kenseth coming off pit road 3rd. And Ricky Rudd's crew gets to do a little bit of celebrating. Long way to go. We're 1/3 distance on NASCAR's longest night, the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600.
Young guns.
The Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox is brought to you by Lowe's, now featuring the new Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon credit cards. By Ford, No Boundaries. By Old Spice, the deodorant of NASCAR. And by Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
No telling what'll happen.
It's worth a shot. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. We're under caution for Ward Burton's crash in turn number 1. You see Race Cakes in Mooresville, North Carolina has brought us that. So we're going to show you what happened here to Ward Burton's crash. He hit the wall with the right front
and lost it.
And away it went.
Work.
So,
blew the right front tire, and the right front is gone.
But
look at that. You tore up my boogity boogity.
Oh, no.
No, man. That was a nice piece, too. And look what you've done to it.
I want the first B. All right. We're going to enjoy a little cake up here. A lot's been happening down on pit road as we show you Ward Burton's car.
Piece of cake.
It looks just about like I showed you.
It's a piece of cake.
Ward is okay. He climbed out of the car, and he was all right.
But the race on pit road, it continues as it has all night long. Once again, look, Jimmy Johnson, those guys had the bad stop last time. Rudd, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth's crew, all doing their work. But Tony Stewart, Jeff, a little bit quicker, moves up to 5th. Jeff Hammond, we hear a lot of guys making these adjustments, especially with the rear track bar. Let's show them what it's about.
Yeah, let's do that, Larry. Let's talk about this right now, because this is one of the easier things to do. First, we got the wedge bolt right there. This is the track bar. This is what it does. It affects the rear roll center of the car. The guys can go up and down, but being loose today, most of the guys are cranking the track bar down 1 or 2 turns. It's pretty simple to do, and it's very effective trying to get the car off the corner where a lot of these guys are having problems.
And 1 turn is equal to about a 1/4 inch, so 2 turns would be a 1/2 inch.
And the thing is, Larry, we're here to talk about it later on tonight, because they'll probably start coming back up with it to make the car go back and turn better. As the track starts to cool down and gets a little more grip, they'll want to free it up to get it off the corner as the race progresses.
Yeah, and I'm glad y'all explained that, because I was tired of people asking me how come we went to the track bar all the time.
Well, Darrell?
Well, they heard about happy hour, you know, and they said, what is up with you guys?
Mike, let's let them hear what 35,000 horsepower sounds like. What do you think?
Oh, you just want another piece of cake.
Oh, yeah, we'll eat that right front.
Okay. We'll let you folks crank it up while we do. Set for the restart.
You ready? Green flag, green flag.
trouble right there. I can't believe they made that work right there. But Ricky Rudd was down the inside, that 4-car up in the middle of them. I thought Jimmy Johnson was going to be the cake. The rock between two hard places.
But, Darrell, that's the worst.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
Boy, they stack up behind him. Everybody has to check up and get on the brakes. But the reason that's trouble down there, we've talked about it all night long. You can run 3 wide through 3 and 4, but then you come on that straightaway, and it's like running into a funnel. It's only 1 lane wide there on the exit of turn 4.
Well, what this is telling me is this track is getting a little bit more grip to it. More and more grip. Guys are getting a little braver, getting a little bolder, but it's still a long way to go. And those moves are dangerous. I mean, you take your car right out of the race beating it up like that.
I think that second one might have been a little, I wasn't very happy with that last.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was. I mean, that's retaliation, minor retaliation. Just watch all this hacking. Here they are 3 wide. This is just not a good time to be 3 wide because the guy on the bottom, look at him, he pushed loose. Fortunately, Rudd had a great run, and he was able to clear those guys, or there would have been a wreck right there.
And Mike Skinner in the 4-car, he's up there trying feverishly to get that lap back, get back on the lead lap.
Well, that's what you hate. You're leading the race, got a good race car, but you got a guy up there that's wanting to get back on the lead lap, and he'll take more chances than you really want to.
Back in the pack, trouble. Harvick climbs the hill, and that stacks up cars behind him. No crash, but oh my gosh.
That's not trouble. He's been up there all night long like that, Mike. That car is just not handling at all.
All those cars around him, and the Sadler brothers made incidental side-to-side contact. You're riding with Tony Stewart. Right behind him is Ricky Craven. They are in 7th and 9th positions with Jeff Gordon alongside. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike, just prior to the pit stop, Tony Stewart described his car as getting very free or loose. They cleaned the front grille off, changed 4 tires, and put 1.5 rounds of wedge in the right rear. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Steve, back on lap 103, the Budweiser guys had their worst stop of the day, a 16.86 second stop. They shoveled the air pressure, trying to help Dale Jr.'s tight in the middle and loose on exit. They seem to have done that. He says now the overall grip is good. Subtle air pressure adjustments have helped. Now they're just trying to learn what to do for this race car for later on in the night. He came in 5th, went out 4th. Now he is 3rd. To Steve Burns.
Well, to Dick Berggren anyway. Rusty Wallace last week had a huge crash head-on. He said it was the worst head-on accident he had ever had. Injured his toes. Bad wreck. They wanted to bring that car to this race. They couldn't because it was too damaged. It's a new car. It's running well, but it's overheating. Non-stop overheating. Every time he pits, they have to pump water in it. There's a leak somewhere in the system. Rusty Wallace crew can't find it. Mike Joy.
Yes, he had worked his way into almost the top 10. That last caution came out. They were on pit road, put more water in it.
Boy, Skinner has just got his hand. He's up there trying to get a lap back, and I think he just got himself out of position, and everybody's going by him. I think he's getting real frustrated. He's taking a lot of chances.
Watch the 4-car here.
Man, it takes off right here with him. It's just not handling, and he's up in there trying to get that lap back, and he can get himself and a lot of people in trouble if he's not careful. Obviously, he's not being careful.
You know, Darrell, even though this racetrack is wide, a lot of grooves, it's very mark sensitive. We talk about hitting your marks. If you miss your mark just a little bit, the car just take off with you.
Darrell, what I'm seeing right now is a lot of glare off the cars. The sun's getting low in the sky, and you folks know what that's like on your evening commute, but what's it like in that race?
Right where those cars are right now, Mike, in the 3rd turn. As they turn into the turn, they're looking straight into, you see that sun over the top of the grandstand? For the next little bit here, they're going to be looking right straight into the sun.
And what these drivers had to do, they had to start with a clear shield because it'll be dark later on.
I don't need no glasses to see these guys beating each other all to pieces right now.
Schrader and his teammate Nadu just got together.
One inside,
side
one
to side.
inside.
Here's that. There you see that sunlight down in 3.
All right, here they come down the back. Now, you see how the sun is shining on the billboards up on the right side there? When the car turns about right there, he's looking straight. See that sun over the top of the grandstand back there? It blinds you just for a moment.
Inside.
Back up front, Ricky Rudd, NASCAR's new Iron Man. 1 second up on Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kurt Busch, and Matt Kenseth.
Guess what? The sun's going down, and we got a full moon tonight.
And usually at racetracks, a full moon night race, oh, that's calamity written all over it. Terry Labonte passes the torch to Ricky Rudd, NASCAR's new Ironman, 656 consecutive starts, 21 years without missing a race in NASCAR Winston Cup. Ricky Rudd is our Ford No Boundaries hero for today, and he is the race leader at 152 laps.
Oh, and he's way out front and actually pulling away a little bit every lap.
Spencer off the pace. Darrell, excuse me, Spencer off the pace in the back straightaway.
Yes, sir, he is. Also, there's another car slowing down behind him. Is that Kimmel?
Or is it Elliott? It's Elliott Sadler.
Oh,
Jimmy
Sadler,
Spencer
yeah,
had
he's
worked his way up to 13th position after starting way back in the field. This is a backup car he wrecked in practice on Thursday before qualifying.
But guys, I tell you, Ricky Rudd tonight is on fire. That new paint job right there is getting the job done.
While we were away, Elliott Sadler made a pit stop under green. Steve Burns, what was the problem?
Mike Elliott came in on lap 149. The hood went up. They wanted to make sure that all the plug wires were attached. They were. It's an engine-related problem. Elliott said, I'm just going to run it till it blows.
Started on the outside pole. Great qualifying run here on Thursday.
That's got Roush power under the hood. So, you know, a couple of Roush motors last week. Mark Martins gave trouble. I tell you, boy, I'd be worried to death. I mean, if I was a motor man, I'd be over there hiding in the bathroom. 700+ miles on these engines. That's a lot of racing miles.
Riding with Robbie Gordon, racing for Richard Childress, finished 8th in the Indy 500, starting 11th, started 12th here, but he had to begin this race at the tail end of the field.
Everything's looking good, Robbie.
For missing the driver's meeting, he is up to 13th. Here's Steve.
Mike, he is up to 13th, but he's also complaining that he has cramps under his left rib cage. He's asked for more padding to be added to the seat on the next stop, which would be costly. They'd lose time if they had to do that.
Second time he has done the Memorial Day double. The Indy 500 and Coke
Mike,
600.
You can't, 600 miles here, 4.5 hours of change there. You just can't stand to have any kind of cramps or aches. You just can't make it.
Number 3, Richard Childress Racing Cars. He by far has the best car. Kevin Harvick's back in 39th. Jeff Green in the 30s, back in 30th, about to go a lap down.
Oh, he's doing a great job. I mean, coming in here, starting in the back and running up there in the 13th position. It's pretty impressive.
And his pit boss at Indy today was his car owner, Richard Childress, telling him when to pit and what was going on from the pit box.
Chip Ganassi also had cars in both the 500 and the 600, as did Indy 500 winning car owner for the second year in a row, Roger Penske, who owns the cars of Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman here in Winston Cup.
How about old Castroneves winning that thing second time? Pretty cool.
Sure was close on that final caution.
Oh, man, I tell you, it's a good thing they had an ISO on that caution light.
Paul Tracy just narrowly missing his first Indy 500 win.
Yeah, good for him, because Tracy has a lot of bad luck, and he's a great driver.
Stuart Craven, 6th place.
And look at that other car that's moved into position there. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. It's almost like, Darrell, as this track cools down, conditions get a little better, motor's making more power with that cool air, he's getting a little better. There you see our Fox track, Ricky Craven in 6th. He's about 7.5 seconds behind our leader right now, Ricky Rudd.
We heard Gordon call in earlier, you know, radio in earlier and tell him he wore out the right rear tire. That just tells you the car was nice and free. As this track tightens up, that nice and free becomes nice and fast.
Last time Jeff Gordon won a Winston Cup race, Dorothy and Toto were in victory lane with him. We were in Kansas. It was last season, and who would have ever thought that Gordon would go this long without repeating a win?
And this is the car that he won that race with.
Very uncharacteristic for him.
Second place, Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. heating up. Johnson, the pole sitter.
Now, Mike, I think it just becomes so obvious. At cars that were fast early on, all of a sudden, they're kind of back in the, you know, out of the top 5 or 6. And guys that were back there in the 10th, 12th, 15th spots starting to move back to the front.
The fellow that has moved the furthest is Kurt Busch. He's up to 4th place after bringing out the first caution flag.
And that's the thing that we talk about the whole show here before it started, was this track transition. Who's going to be good when the sun goes down? How about it, Dick?
Well, you know, you talk about Robbie Gordon and being tired and all that and having problems behind the wheel of the race car. And people, I think, tend to focus on the fact that they are just driving a lot of laps. But there is so much more to it. The Indianapolis 500 is so many people. Drivers are surrounded by them. Here, too, I walked down that long road to driver introductions beside Robbie Gordon, and it's just a tumult of people slapping his hands, slapping him on the back, people in the garage area all wanting his attention. It's an enormous mental strain as well as an enormous physical strain. If he makes this thing, he's superhuman. He's doing a great job so far.
Now, Gordon has complained of rib area cramps. Jeff Hammond.
Oh, trouble down here. It's one car's around.
Steve Park.
Park in the one car.
Caution is out for the 6th time. At lap 162 for Steve Park at turn 4.
Looks like he just got loose and backed it up into the fence.
Harvick tried to get one of his laps back. I don't think he quite made it.
No, he didn't quite make it.
Stop on pit road.
Park goes straight to his pit box.
A lot of rumors going around about Park in that one car. What's going to happen after this race? If he'll continue to be in it or not.
Had a bad crash in a bush race last fall at Darlington, and he's been on the comeback trail. Hasn't progressed along as quickly as he would like or that team would like.
Qualified back in 20th position.
Okay, keep it in neutral right now. Get that on. Probably need to come back in and work on that.
It takes a lot of courage.
Okay.
It takes more courage, I believe, to stay out of the car and get well than it does to get back in the car before you're ready.
Well, ask Johnny Benson, who has cracked ribs from a bush crash at Richmond and is sitting out until Dover.
Back there all by himself, Larry, right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Boy, that 4 car was lucky.
Yeah, it was close.
That's insane. Remember last wreck they had down there, he went to the outside and just barely made it. That time he went to the bottom and just barely made it.
It's been 30 laps since that last restart. I'd say pit road will be a busy place once again. Ricky Rudd, that 28 car, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Matt Kenseth in the 17, have our Fox tracks. They'll start peeling off. Actually, Kenseth will peel off first, then Ricky Rudd, remember Jimmy Johnson at the end of pit road. Dick Burke.
Well, Matt Kenseth, reminiscent of Texas where he won. The adjustments they're making in this car are incredibly minor. Last pit stop, they put a round and a quarter in the left rear. This stop, they're taking a half a round out. To Steve.
Well, Dick, for the third stop in a row, no changes at all on the 28 car of Ricky Rudd. He gets a cold rag, 4 tires, and 22 gallons of gas. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, on the last stop, Jimmy Johnson's crew made a wedge adjustment. He says it really didn't respond well, so this time they made both a wedge and track bar adjustment. He's going to beat the 8 and the 17 off pit road. He was loose on entry and tight in the center. It just would not cut in the center of the corner.
Boys, I'm telling you, the race on pit road's got me about as excited as the race on the racetrack.
Well, what happened too with the 48 and those guys down on the end of pit road down here, Larry, is they got tired of that 17 beating them out. So they've got on the drivers. You're going to have to get in here quicker and get out quicker, and I think that's making the difference.
I believe old Michael Fatback McSwain was saying, I don't know how we can have a pit stop any quicker. They're still trying to beat us out of here.
Shaking his head.
The Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Cold down easy.
Let's have a look at how they came off pit road.
All right, we'll go right to it. We're going to show you why Ricky Rudd looked here from 1st to 11th pit stop. But the problem was, this reason Fatback was unhappy, they couldn't get the right front tire off. But look at Matt Kenseth, that group. I know we keep talking about him, but there's something to talk about. Look at the pit stop. 4 tires and fuel, 14.3 seconds. And remember, these tires have 5 lug nuts. They're not like those Indy cars with 1 lug nut. They have 5.
What I like about these guys, that's not the first time they've done that. They've been doing this all night long and all year long.
So it's Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, the 17 of Matt Kenseth, the 20 of Tony Stewart, the 6 of Mark Martin, then Ricky Craven, John Andretti, Michael Waltrip, Robbie Gordon, and Sterling Marlin are the top 10. 29 cars on the lead lap as we go back to green.
Having more and more cars on that inside line trying to get those laps back as this race goes further and further. Jeff Burton in the 99 car, he's one of those cars now, a lap down, sandwiched between Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. I think the only way he'll get a lap back right now from Jimmy Johnson should we catch a quick caution and Jimmy Johnson back off and let him have it back.
Yeah, because I don't really think he can stay there all that long.
Darrell, do you like having a lapped car behind you as the leader, you know, in the rocking chair, or is that unnerving because he's got to go?
Yeah, no, I don't like it because he might do something foolish. He's gambling. You know, a caution comes out, you maybe check up, and he runs over you. So you just never know.
Well, he's not going to be there for long. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Budweiser number 8 car down at the bottom of the racetrack. They kept Jeff Burton up to the top, trying to get back up there and fight Jimmy Johnson for this lead.
Well, Burton hadn't been good enough so far to get that lap back, so I think he'll fade back pretty quickly here, but he's kind of a nuisance until he does.
Now, Robbie Gordon, you heard, has some cramping in his rib cage area, so under the caution, he and the crew talked over what they might do to help Robbie Gordon.
Robbie, we got you a sports drink mixed with Gatorade, Powerade, goodies, and orange juice in it. It ought to be good. 4 tires. Come on, Robbie. Come on, bud. Catch up.
No, man. That's okay. Just let me hurt.
Right here. You got him, Bill.
That don't sound too good to me.
Now, goodies is aspirin, acetaminophen, and
Sounds
caffeine.
like that'll make you sick.
I think there's a method to the
There you
madness.
go. Come on.
Gil Martin keeps trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Hey, it'll be good.
No.
Well, let's see. Is he going to drink it?
There it is. Nice big drink. I think that Gil's method to his madness there was you drink something tastes that bad, you'll forget about 2 rounds.
Come on. Side. 4,000. Keep digging. Clear high.
All right, Steve Burns.
Well, guys, they talked about adding some padding to the seat. This is what part of it is. They cut it out, but they did not put it in the seat on this stop. Also, as you should know, Kevin LePage is here in the pit standing by should Robbie need to get out of the car. Let's check in now with Jeff Hammond.
One of the things they keep talking about with Robbie's car is trying to get him, because he's already run 500 miles in Indy today, so he's probably pretty physically just wore out. What the seat's designed to do is to help hold you in there as you go around this racetrack. It keeps you from getting over and leaning. Right now, he's having to use a lot of energy to hold himself up, so what they might do is take this piece of padding, come in, he'll stick it over here beside himself. That'll help support him. Again, let the seat do the work and save him the trouble of trying to spend all that energy for the rest of these 600 miles here tonight. But I tell you what, this has kind of wore me out. I think I'll get me a sports drink right now, or a drink of water, and get right back up to the booth.
Here's what that tells me Robbie Gordon is very, very tired, because you hold yourself in the car with your legs, you hold yourself in your car with your arms and your hands on the steering wheel, and when you get tired, you start to lay over to the right side. And the tireder you get, the harder you push on that right side.
And Darrell, something I don't think we talk about enough that we can emphasize is, yeah, 600 miles, 400 laps, but the G-forces these drivers will take, not twice a lap, but this quad oval front stretch, you have a lot of G-forces slinging you to the right down the way this front stretch is designed.
Plus, the track is not very smooth. When you go down that back straightaway, it jostles that car around. You watch them down here. Bam, 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 bam.
Now, Robbie Gordon is the 9th place car, so he's not anxious to bring that car to pit road. Right behind him, Jeff Gordon, no relation, the defending Winston Cup champ, also had his troubles on that stop. Matt?
Well, DW, keep one thing in mind. It is also one of the hottest days of the year. And Jeff Gordon on that stop. No chassis adjustments, just driver adjustments. 2 bags of ice and a water bottle. They came in 7th, went out 11th. No problems on the stop. It was just slow. 16 and change.
Darrell, it's 120 degrees in that car. How long is that ice going to be ice?
Well, it doesn't last very long, and the problem is you can't put it where you want it. I mean, you know, you can't put it down in the back because you pushed up against the back of the seat. You can't put it on the right side because you're laying up against the right side of the seat. So about all you can do is dump it down the front of your uniform and just kind of let it trickle down where it wants to go.
Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, 1.7 seconds back. Tony Stewart, Ricky Craven, Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, and in 8th place, John Andretti.
In that Dodge started back in 28, and he's worked his way, as you said, Mike, up to 8. It's almost like his car is getting a little better as the night goes on. Dick Bergman.
Well, John Andretti is Mario Andretti's nephew. Aldo's son, his crew chief, is Greg Stedman. They're looking for their first top 5 in over a year. But the car looks good tonight. Can you get it further forward, Greg?
Yeah, it's been pretty good most of the night. We haven't done many changes wedge in at the first stop, and other than that, we haven't changed anything. So we'll see what the weather does now that it's cooled off.
And that's a big trick. That's what everybody's worried about, Darrell and Mike. Larry, is the weather. As we get cooler in the evening, adjusting these cars on the pit stop, that's the big, big trick to going fast and finishing well here tonight.
Well, to no surprise, it sounds like everybody's been pretty loose in the first part of this race. You talked about Greg Stedman putting wedge in the car, in the left rear, putting more weight there. That tightens their car up. Good chance they'll take those 2 rounds out and maybe 2 more as this racetrack, as it tightens up and the racetrack temperature cools down.
Bide your time. That's all you got to do. We'll get it right for you. And that's the thing that crew chief needs to be telling Robbie Gordon right now. Robbie, we're going to help you. We're going. You got to. I say it every week, I know, but it's so true. Got to encourage that driver. If you'll just hang in there, buddy, we'll fix it for you.
A lot of experience back here, Darrell. Kyle Petty, Bobby Hamilton in the 55. That's that big front bumper you see behind Dale Jarrett now. And Bill Elliott in that group.
Tony Stewart just took a high line off. Well, I think there must be fluid down there in turn 2 because 25 car took off up the hill as well. I don't know what happened down there.
Dale Jarrett, he's in the 18th position. Darrell, you talked about it earlier. This is no surprise. It's like they're almost keeping him posted where the leader is. He started way back in 38th position, provisional land, and he just kind of keeps coming slowly but surely as the night progresses.
See, that's the maturity of a veteran. They just kind of hang around, and at the end of the night, all of a sudden you look up and you say, where did he come from? A lot like what Ricky Rudd did to us in California.
That's right.
At the end of the day, we said, where did he come from?
Came all the way up to 3rd.
Hey, yeah, he finished 3rd, and I mean, like, where'd he come from?
Where's Waldo? Where's the leader? Jimmy Johnson at 181 laps, 7/10 of a second. Up on Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Ricky Craven, and Mark Martin.
And one winner of 3 Sports Emmy Awards for Outstanding Live Series. Graphic design and technical achievement. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
At the Lowe's Motor Speedway north of Charlotte, 187 laps complete. We're 13 laps from halfway in stock car racing's longest day. The Coca-Cola Racing Family 600. Pole sitter Jimmy Johnson has gone back to the lead. He's pretty much dominated. He's led 114 laps. Ricky Rudd
right now,
has led 49 laps, and 5 other drivers have led briefly. We've had 6 caution flags for a total of 26 laps.
The guy's a car that is in trouble right now. Robbie Gordon, he was in the top 10 not too many laps ago. He just got passed by Kyle Petty for 16th. We're hearing that he thinks he has a flat tire. See Bill Elliott go by him. That's for the 17th position. He's just hanging out there hoping to get a caution. Right now, he's about a half a lap behind the leader.
But Larry, he doesn't have a flat tire. When you get tired, when you get really tired and you're exhausted, the car, everything feels like the car doesn't handle good. You can't stay on top of the steering wheel. You just don't feel, the car doesn't feel good to you. But it's not the car's fault. It's probably the driver's fault. They need to make a driver change.
Ricky Rudd fighting his way back toward the front, goes past Jeff Gordon. That is for 8th place. Steve Burns.
Yeah, Mike, he's trying to fight his way back up. When he pitted on lap 163, they had a lug nut hang on the right front. It got cross-threaded, slowed their stop down. He's back up now in the 8th position.
The way this sport has gone, you need a perfect night to win. Little things, little small mistakes can rob you of a chance to be in contention for victory.
Well, you run everything right to the limit. Then when you get behind, you take it over the limit. So you drive a little harder to catch back up. You use equipment just a little bit more, and you got these things right on the verge of, you don't have them on kill, but you got them real close to it.
As the sun gets low in the sky, NASCAR has just approved an 8th ban over the wall. Normally only 7 are allowed, to service the driver and to clean the windshield.
And one reason they wait into the race to do it is they try to wait till there's a few cars that's a lap down, where in the beginning, when everybody pits, you won't have 43 extra guys on pit road. It's sort of a safety measure. But yeah, pushing the limit, Darrell, they do it. I mean, you just think about everything going on a pit stop. 20 lug nuts off, 20 lug nuts on, dumping almost 22 gallons of fuel. A lot of things happening on pit road on a pit stop.
Dave Blaney running 13th. One of his team's fabricators, Jeff Foltz, won the ARCA race here as part of Summer Speed Week. And Lowe's Motor Speedway.
I like his flames a lot. I love those flames. One thing to paint them on your car, it's something else when they come out the pipes like that.
But you know, guys, he's been fast for a week and a half here. He was fast in a lot of the Winston practices. He was very fast in practice on Thursday. He just didn't get that qualifying run that he wanted. Started back in 14, but he's been hanging right there in the top 15 halfway this whole first half of this race.
Ever since California, he's really had that car. They've come together as a team. Him and his crew chief have started to communicate really well. He's gotten to running better and better and better.
Bobby Labonte pulling down on Dave Blaney. Terry's younger brother, Bobby, both past Winston Cup champions. And earlier in this race, Bobby Labonte has a get-together with Mark Martin. Been in the right front of Bobby Labonte's car.
But he came to pit road several times. Jimmy May car in that group. They just kept working on it. They didn't panic, and now he's on the lead lap, worked his way all the way back up to the 15th position.
But it's been a tough day for the Labonte family. Bobby's father-in-law, Donna's father, Don Slate, passed away unexpectedly this morning, leaving his wife of 50 years, Bertha, and 3 children, Donna, Rodney, and Rusty. Our condolences to the entire family, and Bobby Labonte racing here tonight with a heavy heart. Here's a driver who has shown a lot of patience in this race, Michael Waltrip, who presently is 6th.
A lot of confidence coming in. He thought he was going to qualify better than he did. He really felt good about his whole weekend. He qualified outside pole for the Busch race. I think that running that Busch race yesterday has really helped him tonight because that car is very consistent. It's been in the top 10 ever since the race started. Currently running in 6th place. Michael's doing a good job tonight. I'm proud of him.
Tony Stewart locked up in a battle with Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon. All 3 of them are about 12 seconds off of the lead. Jimmy Johnson at 196 laps, 4 laps from halfway, and he's led 123 of them. The rookie dominating here in Charlotte.
Most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Pizza Hut, home of the Insider Pizza.
Oh, Sterling is waltzing.
202 laps complete. We are just past halfway in NASCAR's longest race, the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600. Here's our Coors Light race recap at halfway. Pole-sitter Jimmy Johnson leading most of the first 106 laps. Ricky Rudd leads for 49 laps. And 3/4 of the field are still on the lead lap. And Jimmy Johnson has just led the last 39 laps in a row for a total of 130 out of 203 laps.
Boy, this right here, just look at that. 49 car just ran Dale Jr. right up into the outside wall.
That's Ron Hornaday Jr. in that car.
He's just going by him on the outside. He's making the clean pass here. All of a sudden, the 49. Oh, I see what happened. The 49 got loose. Probably trying to get down out of his way. Tried to cut it to the bottom, and it jumped out from under him. I'm sure Jr. wasn't happy about that.
After it bounces off the wall, Darrell, what is Junior concerned about?
Oh, everything goes through your mind, and the car may not drive as well now. Because what happens, you knock the toe. When you hit the wall like that, you'll toe the right front end, and the car will not drive the same. One thing we may hear from his radio is his steering wheel straight. You can see a little damage to the right front fender. The steering wheel is that tells the driver what happened. If it's towed in, he'll have the wheel held. See how he's holding the wheel to the left? Well, that's in the turn there. Let's see where the steering wheel is.
All clear.
That thing, it looks fine. A driver likes to see that steering wheel at about that angle right there.
So, Larry, what's the first thing you ask the driver after he bounces off the wall like that?
I'm going to ask him, well, what is it driving like? And then I'm going to ask him exactly what Darrell's talking about. Is the steering wheel still centered? Matt Yoakum, what are they saying? What are they asking him?
Well, Tony Eury Jr., the car chief on the 8, told me that Dale Jr. told him the car is towed out. He says now the car is not handling well. It is pushing a little bit. The car is towed out.
Now, Larry, when it's towed out, what's it going to do to those tires?
What that means is, we're talking about tow out. We're talking about the difference measured across the front of the front tires versus the rear of the front tires. And you'll run about 1/8 of an inch. And what that does, that gives stability for the car getting in the corner. If it knocks it in, knocks it way in, it will make the car not turn. It'll push. Now, I'm going to show you the tow out animation right here. And it's normally in the right front. See how much that wheel's towed out right there? And what you do, if they can get to pit stop, they'll go in there and they'll adjust it. And it's adjusted with a tie rod right here. And you'll just loosen 2 bolts and adjust it. There it is, the 2 bolts. And you'll turn that thing, and you'll have strings on it to get you back as close as you can to try to get that car to driving better.
Yeah, and Mike, actually, if it's towed out, that's the best thing that can happen to you. If it's towed in, you can't drive it. It'll eat the tire off the right front. It doesn't hurt it so bad if it's towed out, as long as it's not wild. And it just takes him a few laps to get adjusted to what the car's doing, and he'll drive a different line.
And normally, when you hit the wall, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. did, you will knock the toe in more, normally.
Our leader's Jimmy Johnson at 208 laps. He's now got a 6.5-second lead on Mark Martin.
Jimmy, how hard are you driving it right now, bud?
Trying to find my groove again. The tires just fell off a notch, so searching a little right now. I'm trying. I mean, I'm not quite qualifying laps, but I've got a good pace going.
10-4, I wasn't trying to push you. I'm just working on some fuel mileage numbers.
No, 10-4, I understand.
All right, now, Jeff, I know my driver buddy up here, Darrell. I make him nervous when I start talking about fuel mileage, and we're just halfway. But as a crew chief, you have to do it because, Darrell, you talked about it in the beginning. The middle of the race, everybody settles down, green flag runs. And what Chad's trying to figure out, Jeff, can he make it on 2 more stops after pitting on lap 165, or is it going to take 3 more stops? By my calculations, it looks like 3 more pit stops. Should we stay green?
Larry, you're exactly right. That's what I've got down here right now, at least at the pace that I'm seeing. They're keeping up. They're still running pretty quick, and I think it's, it's pretty savvy right there for Chad Canals to be that heads up about what's going on. He's already starting to do his strategy on the future part of what's going to happen in this race, and I'm very impressed with the way Jimmy Johnson has really got himself settled down in that pace. We talked about it earlier, that you want to pace yourself and not use up too much during this first 500 miles and have a little extra kick for the end.
And it can catch you off guard as a crew chief. It's really mind-boggling here figuring fuel mileage because faster speeds mean you're running faster, you're using more fuel. If a car starts pushing, Darrell, it's bound up, and you'll use more fuel because the car's not turning.
Good job, buddy.
What I like about Jimmy Johnson, what I've heard in his voice as a driver, very calm, not excited, and like he was on a really smooth ride right now. What do you got, Matt?
Well, DW, you're exactly right. He's not pushing it right now, just riding. Chad Canals does know how this race usually plays out. He has 2 victories here in this event with Jeff Gordon when he used to be a Rainbow Warrior. In the final practice session Saturday, they tried a lot of different things. Then they went back to their setup in the morning session, but they do know how to adjust this car through the night. Right now, Jimmy is saying the car is loose on entry, loose in the center, and loose up off. They're probably going to pit in around 18 to 20 more laps.
Putting a lap on Kenny Schrader. Let's look back for the second-place car. That is the Jack Roush Ford, number 6, Batesville, Arkansas's Mark Martin. We've talked about today, Memorial Day weekend, being a weekend to celebrate the American family. Dick Berggren has a great family story on this car.
Last year at this same event, we told you the story of Tara Parker. She is the wife of Sean Parker, car chief for Kurt Busch. Despite her youth, this last year at this same time, Tara needed a heart transplant. She's gotten the heart transplant. She's with us tonight. She has brought her physician. How fortunate are you to be here? How fortunate are you to be here?
I am very, very fortunate to be here today. Thanks to the Lord above and my good doctor here, Dr. Tom Wannenberg. It's the main reason I am here today. He diagnosed and decided that I needed a transplant, and thank goodness that he did, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for this guy right here.
And the smile says it all, Mike Joy.
Thank you, Dick. Sean Parker was on Mark Martin's team last year. Over the winter, they switched crews completely. Mark Martin and teammate Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch now, who restarted 16th at lap 168 after a bad pit stop. There you see 16th. He has climbed up onto the leaderboard.
He's been to the back twice. He started there and then spun out on lap 10, was back there again. If he can ever get there, Darrell, I think he'll be another contender for the night.
He knows how to win.
Speedway. Don't forget, right after today's race on Fox, special extended post-race coverage for you on the Speed Channel. Right after we go off the air, you can switch over to the Speed Channel for more interviews and race analysis. And if you're not getting the Speed Channel, simply call 1-888-22-SPEED. That's 1-888-22-SPEED. Extended post-race coverage always on the Speed Channel with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers back in the Hollywood Hotel, and Robbie Gordon after finishing 8th at Indy, going a lap down here. Jimmy Johnson has led most of the laps. By the way, drivers who have led the most laps have failed to win 11 of the last 14 races, and we still have 178 laps to go here. But let's talk about Jack Roush Racing, because he has 2 drivers among the top 3, and Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth, Jeff. And Roush Racing, they've won 4 of the last 7 Lowe's Motor Speedway races, and they've won actually the last 3, had drivers won the last 3 600s.
Yeah, and they seem like they've got a really good combination out there. I was watching out there, Jimmy Johnson on his back bumper. He thought it might be just a little bit loose, but we're getting real close to pit stops right now. One thing I wanted to bring up is I talked to Jack Roush myself this past week, and he said, hey, I will see you at Dover next week if the doctor approves it. And what he was telling me was his leg is really getting better every day. He's feeling better. His spirits are up, but he wants to get a little stronger. As we can see right now, pit stops are starting to come in, and we see the 7-car Casey Atwood on pit road. And Jimmy Johnson just continues to march through this field.
Jack Roush, of course, having the plane crash around Talladega, up walking, and expects to be. And it looks like the 48 car is slipping a little bit. Let's go back upstairs.
John Andretti makes a stop. Steve Hart comes back on the track after time in the garage. Jeff Burton, the defending champion of this race, has taken his car behind the wall where they're working on it with the hood up. Dick Berggren's there.
I'm with Frank Stoddard. Frank, what's going on?
Well, we broke a motor. Something in the motor broke. I don't know if it's a valve spring or push rod rocker arm, something. So we're just going to go ahead and try to deaden that cylinder, take the push rods out, not kill it anymore. It's a shame. The car was running actually pretty good. We got a lap down there with a tire problem. Got that fixed, and we're running on the racetrack in 3rd. Just couldn't get a caution, but I guess it doesn't matter. It's all for naught. It's a shame. The guys work hard on the motors, and I don't know, just part of the game.
They're still working hard on the motors. They had 157 laps on this engine before the start of the race today. To Steve.
Dick, the 31 of Robbie Gordon in. They're going to put a round of wedge in. They're also the extra man over the wall giving Robbie Gordon a drink. Could not see if they got any additional padding into the seat. But again, a chassis adjustment and a drink for Robbie Gordon. Let's go to Matt Youngster.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to win his first 600-miler here in Charlotte. Remember, he had that tow-out problem. We had the contact with the 49 car earlier. Look for Tony Eury Jr. on the front to try to pull out that right front fender a little bit. They were talking about that on the radio to try to help that condition. You see a crew member pull that out as Eury Jr. is going to work on the left front. A little bit slow on the left front, and he's down and away. Good Dick Berggren.
Matt Kenseth is in the pits as well. He has been trouble with a car that at first was perfect, then it went loose. They wanted to work on spring rubbers, change the springs in the back, but they didn't want to do that under a green flag. Just takes too long. To Matt.
Remember, we told you that the leader, the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, was loose on entry, loose in the middle, and loose off. They were talking about adjustments on the radio. More than likely, as a little bit of close call with a 14, Johnson slides inside. He's got to back up. He's got to back up the car. This is going to be costly for Jimmy Johnson. The first mistake of the day for Jimmy Johnson. He'd been working on his entry into the pits. They had gotten a lot better. This will be very costly, as now they come around to the left side. No chassis adjustments for Jimmy Johnson. His first mistake of the day for the rookie, who was driving like a veteran. He's now finally down and away.
Sterling Marlin in and out. Michael Waltrip, Jerry Nadeau, Mark Martin, Dick Berggren.
Well, Mark Martin's car is also a bit loose. They're going to put 3 rounds in the left rear. That's a pretty lot of weight going in the left rear on one of these pit stops. A good stop so far for Mark Martin. He is looking for his first win in well over a year, and this could be a good racetrack for him to win it. To Steve.
Right side tire's already on the number 32 of Ricky Craven. Just an air pressure adjustment. Jim Carvin and Tony Enderle changing tires. Ricky Craven is away.
Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Tony Stewart are in. Matt.
Left side tires going on the 24 car. Jeff Gordon, he was tight in the middle and loose off. They had air pressure adjustments to fix the tight in the middle. They made a wedge adjustment in the left rear to fix the loose off.
Dale Jarrett, Mike Skinner have stopped as Kyle Petty comes onto pit road, and Bobby Labonte has come to the front. Sadler is in.
what Jimmy Johnson, what we got to be careful, what he's got to be careful of now is not to get frustrated and not to overdrive the car, not try to make all that time up at once. He's still got the best car on the track. He can get back in this race without any problem.
Labonte pits. Kenny Schrader, Frank Kimmel on pit road as well as Bobby Labonte.
But Jeff will tell you, Mike and Larry, I preached all the time, don't beat yourself. You know, you got enough competition out there. Don't beat yourself.
The only thing he has going for him is he had about a 5-second lead. And I've been watching the cars that have pitted and the cars that have stayed out. Right now, when it's all said and done, he's going to be about 3 seconds behind Matt Kenseth, who should be leading the race once we cycle through the pit stops.
Here's your new leader, Dave Blaney. Going to come in and this time and make his pit stop.
Remember, every time these guys lead a lap, even if it's just one lap, it's 5 Winston Cup bonus points.
So Blaney comes to Ryan Pemberton and team.
800, nice smooth stop now.
And those bonus points will really play big at the end of the year too, Mike and Larry. You know that.
Absolutely. And Kenseth will be the leader as we finish this cycle of pit stops. Now let's show you rookie mistake, Darrell, by Jimmy Johnson.
I think so. What I noticed earlier, Mike, was he was not getting in his pit box hard enough. And I think Chad must have gotten on him. And the last couple of times in, he had really been aggressive coming to his box. That time it bit him.
I mean, you have to pit in that box. The only thing you can have hanging out is possibly the right rear. The front has to be behind that yellow line.
And the thing about it, Mike, they watch the 17 cars pit stops on TV just like everybody else does. That's where they picked up on Kenseth getting in and out better than Jimmy was.
But look, it's our graphic now. This is the first time we've had green flag stop. You see Jimmy Johnson, and look, the pit stop, but look at the lap pit time. What that is, that's 2 laps from start-finish line to start-finish line 2 times, including the pit stop. He's 154, but look at Matt Kenseth, 146. That's 8 seconds. He had a 5-second lead. He's 3 seconds behind now.
What saved Jimmy Johnson was he backed up the car before they started working on it. If they had jacked that car up with the car over the line, it would have been a penalty. The NASCAR official was there going back up or else penalty.
Yes, and here's something to consider. We are now in that transition period from daylight to dark. This is the toughest part of the night. When the sun's gone down, the lights haven't quite taken effect yet.
And this is when I'm picking your brain. Tell me what that car's doing. We got a few more stops to make some adjustments.
Okay, NASCAR. By your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. By Subway. Fresh-made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway, eat fresh. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Riding with Bill Elliott at Lowe's Motor Speedway as daylight turns to darkness in the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600. Matt Kenseth, Mark Martin in Fords, pole sitter Jimmy Johnson's Chevrolet, Ricky Rudd in a Ford, Sterling Marlin's Dodge are the top 5.
Look at here, this cat right here, Jimmy Johnson. He may have had a bad pit stop, but it isn't going to slow that race car down. He's back in 2nd place, closing on the lead. Matt Kenseth's up there. I think they just unleashed her a little bit.
Matt Yoakum.
Well, Mike, let's check in with his crew chief, Chad Canals. Chad, kind of dissect that pit stop. You lost a lot of time.
Yeah, we were coming down pit road, and the 14 car rather had just finished up his stop, and we were going to go around him to get into our pit box. He tried to get out of his, and Jimmy had to check up quite a bit, lost his rhythm, kind of ran over the yellow line a little bit. Guys did a great job pushing him back, just did 4 tires, didn't have any mistakes after that point. You know, that's the big thing that we need to do right now. Jimmy's doing a great job. The car's running terrific. We just need to have no mistakes, and we'll put this power of Pride Lowe Chevrolet victory lane tonight.
Remember, his car owner, Jeff Gordon, wasn't as lucky last year. He was leading when he pitted and was hit by the 27 on pit road. The aerodynamic damage ruined his chances for a victory. Jimmy Johnson a little luckier tonight, Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, with Michael McSwain, crew chief on the 28. Michael, as it gets cooler, how is your race car adapting to this racetrack?
Yeah, our race car's pretty good. We made some changes for the hot weather. Anticipate the cold. We put all those back now. The car's still pretty good. I had a bad pit stop. The guys did a great job on that pit stop. Then we recovered. We'll be okay now.
Rudd 7.5 seconds off the lead in 4th place.
You know, that that mistake, Jimmy Johnson, about a 5-second mistake, that equates out to 900 feet on the racetrack. It don't sound like much, but it's a lot when you're out there running about 190 miles an hour.
But it may have, but look where he is.
He's right there lurking to take the lead back.
He's knocking on the door.
Kevin Harvick has taken his ill-handling car, which was 5 laps down, to the garage.
I think they need to go in there and make some chassis adjustments, maybe use this for a test session.
He will join Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, Ward Burton, and Kevin LePage for the lead right here.
Drove that thing right to the bottom of the racetrack, right around that white line, and completed the pass in one corner.
You know, a good race car, it seems to handle good in the sunshine when it's 80 degrees, 85, 89 degrees. Good at night, 65 degrees.
Twilight time, just north of Charlotte on NASCAR's longest night. 250 laps completed at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword leader, for your shot at collectible gear from your favorite driver. Brought to you by Lowe Ultra. Right now, Jimmy Johnson out in front of Matt Kenseth by a 1.5 seconds. Kenseth's Ford teammate Mark Martin in third. Ricky Rudd fourth, 10 seconds back. Ricky Craven fifth. Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Sterling Marlin, Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip are the top 10.
250 down, 150 laps to go. Is that all?
225 miles left to race.
Y'all not getting tired, are you?
Absolutely not. But you know what? A guy we have to keep mentioning and talking about because he's had quite an up-and-down night. Bobby Labonte, he's back in the 11th position in that 18 car. Remember, he had the problem on the racetrack with Mark Martin, caved that right front fender in, came to pit road, they pulled it out, and he's just been steadily moving his way. Now here you see by Fox Tracks, he's in 11th, but he's about 2/3 of a lap behind the leader, and right now, just watching the lap times, he's running about the same speed as the leader. And that's what Jimmy Maycar, his crew chief, will keep him posted. How far he's behind the leader, but how you relate to the leader.
I just want to say again, you're going to be so surprised when we get down inside of 50 laps to go, who's going to be in the top 5 and 6.
Well, right now, it's hard to believe that this is the first time around that for this man, Jimmy Johnson, that he's a rookie here. Best finish in 4 Busch races here was 16th last May. So it's not like Jimmy Johnson up until last Saturday night in the All-Star race when he won 2 of 3 segments, that he would be a fella you'd pick to dominate this race, and he's led 163 laps, Darrell.
Oh, yeah, and you know, we've said a few times in the telecast earlier this year about those are Jeff Gordon cars. Those aren't Jeff Gordon cars anymore. Chad Canals and that crew have been building new cars every week, and those are Chad's cars, and Jimmy's giving Chad the information. That's what's making them go fast. I loved how he sounded on the radio earlier when we listened to him. Calm, just like he was on a Sunday drive. Well, actually, he is.
He is. Pretty much. Yeah, he's working on Casey Atwood in that 7 car right now. Casey's in 18th position, so we have 18 cars on the lead lap.
Now, Dave Blaney was our leader as we cycled through pit stops. He was the last of the leaders to pit, but he's had to come back in unexpectedly. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, and we can show you why. He came back in on lap 249. He felt a vibration on the left rear tire. This is where the lug nut goes, and you can see it's gnarled up there. In fact, the team wrote J-U-N-K on it and drew an arrow. It's junk.
Just another one of those things we talk about, these pit crews pushing the envelope, trying to cut out those 14-second stops on pit road, and sometimes you just don't get those lugs tight enough.
Yeah, I had a pretty good idea when he came down pit road. Tires don't vibrate, but wheels do when they're loose.
You know, you look at the 48 car, it has Lowe's on the hood, but we'll talk about this power of pride. And what that's about, it's the world's biggest thank you card for those fighting for our freedom for this country, especially since September the 11th. The card is 14 stories tall, 48 feet wide, and has 23,000 fan signatures on it, thanking the people of our armed forces, and it will be presented to these men and women in mid-June.
Oh,
yeah, trouble turn 4.
Boy, turn 4.
Bill Elliott?
And, man, Jarrett.
Yeah, Jeremy Mayfield.
You won't believe how close Jarrett came to getting wiped out in that deal.
Jeremy Mayfield limps around to the caution flag. It'll be the 7th
I hate to interrupt you, Larry, but golly.
No, absolutely. That was big. Rusty Wallace and Brett Bodine in 11, and in the 2, they got their lap back.
I saw that 19 go around, and here comes, I thought Jarrett was definitely going to get taken out in the mess.
Mayfield's car had been damaged from a crash much earlier.
Watch this.
24.
Watch this, Mike. Watch this, Larry.
This is how close his cat comes to getting wiped out right here. And we're riding with Jarrett.
Let's see it here,
Here
Dale.
he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Roll away.
Oh,
my gosh.
Wow. Wasn't a whole lot the spotter could do for him.
Let me tell you, if Dale Jarrett hadn't have drawn up, he wouldn't have made it. I guarantee he grew up in a seat.
And Jeremy, of course, was involved in an accident earlier back in the race, and he's out there 62 laps down. Once again, as we talked, just trying to make laps and accumulate points and gain position.
All right, we've been following Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, and Ricky Rudd on pit stops. And we'll take that same order again as they come down pit road at lap 258. See if the pits are open this time. They are. Here they come.
There's our Fox tracks. Again, monitoring the 48, the 17, Ricky Rudd. As we remember, Matt Kenseth went in the 17, will fill off first, then Ricky Rudd, then Jimmy Johnson, Dick Burford.
Well, Matt Kenseth's crew still would like to be able to work on those springs. They'd like to pull a spring rubber out of the rear, but they will not spend the amount of time it takes to do that on pit road. So they're going to make the adjustments by putting wrenches in the back of the car. That's faster, but it doesn't make the car run quite as well as Kenseth might like to make it run. Steve.
Ricky Rudd on pit road. They talked about raising the track bar. Ricky said, no, let's not go crazy. Let's put 4 tires on it. Minor air pressure adjustment. Matt Yoakum.
Jimmy Johnson says his car was really, really tight as a 17-6. They're trying to beat the 48 off. But Jimmy, due to this great stop by his crew and this pit stall, will beat them off. Jimmy was really, really tight. Chad Knaus asked him, was it because you were tucked up underneath the 7? He says, no. So they put 1 pound of air back in the right rear, and they also made a chassis adjustment.
Bobby Labonte backing up to his pit.
I bet he's got a wheel loose. I bet he's got a wheel loose. He's going back to get it tightened up.
And what's wrong with Dale Jr.'s car?
They're probably adjusting on that fender. They may be actually adjusting that toe out that we talked about earlier.
I think they're checking out. Yeah, the left rear tire just came off. Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh.
Boy, that's a great catch, but I'm sure the crew was hollering for him to stop.
Well, and he's not in his pit is the problem as well. So away he goes.
That's still, I mean, when they started hollering at him, if he'd have gone around the track, he'd probably stalled on the back straightaway.
And he almost made it back to his pits without that tire coming off. It came off, actually, it's almost like when he stopped is when it came off.
No real damage. I mean, that's not going to hurt anything right there.
And what our pit guys are saying is the air wrench broke. Jackman dropped the jack. That's Bobby Labonte's sign to go, but the lug nuts were not tight. Broken air wrench.
All right, Larry, do you have a clear signal if a tire changer has a problem so the Jackman knows?
I have told my guys, you're wearing a radio. Use that radio. And I know it's sometimes hard to do when you're running an air wrench, but that's what that radio's for.
Here's what happens, though. You're used to hearing saying, go, go, go. What they usually say is, whoa, 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 and the driver can't pick up the difference. So it takes a stop. You got to stop.
Or like we use, trouble, trouble, trouble.
Trouble, yeah.
Trouble for Jeremy Mayfield. He's taken his car to the garage after bringing out the 7th caution of the evening.
America 600 on Fox is brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers.
The night train. Miami, Florida. Atlanta, Georgia. Raleigh, North Carolina. Oh, yeah. Night train. Night train. Night train. Night train.
Now, they got the Screamin' Mimes and all those other new groups on that Fox Crank It Up CD, but nothing gets your feet moving like a little James Brown.
James Brown can do the boogity, boogity, boogity with the best of them, baby.
All right.
You know, we've been talking about the track conditions, and when this race started, it was about 125 degrees. Now it's 90 degrees, but the significance, it's the same all the way around this racetrack because the sun is history, so at least the conditions all the way around are consistent. Now, pit stop sequence, I love the races happening on pit road. Look at Sterling Marlin, fastest pit stop. Went from 8th to 5th. There's a reason, that pit stop. Jimmy Johnson, 15.9. Matt Kenseth, 15.3. These guys held their own, but because these guys had that 14.3, look at there, 8th to 5th.
Let's go to pit road and Matt.
Right now, Mike, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is talking to Tony Eury Jr. Are you going to come in for a 5th time, Tony?
We might come in, just top it off, just get a little extra fuel. I mean, he knocked the toe out in that little incident there. It was nobody's fault, just got loose and got into him, but knocked the toe off quite a bit. We towed it in. It looks good on the concrete, you know, but best we can tell, we're back to normal, so we'll see what the car's got.
They strung it up 4 different times and towed it in about 1 round. Steve Burns?
I'm out here in the 18 pits. Want to show you what happened to Bobby Labonte. This is the air gun. When they go to reverse, they hit this pin. When they did, the assembly came out, and it broke in half. They found this on pit road. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Kurt Busch has surely had an eventful 600 race here. He lost the oil pump early in practice. They had to change the engine. That caused him to have to start all the way at the back of the pack. Early in the race, he spun. Then he got a cut tire. Guess what? Kurt Busch is running in 6th spot. He's a contender despite all that. Mike?
He has had quite an afternoon, and it's a long way from being over. 138 laps to go.
But see, to him, he's a young kid, this is an adventure.
Right.
I mean, it's a 600-mile adventure. Hey, I guess this is what happens in a 600-mile race, because he don't have enough experience to know the difference.
Let's give you an update earlier in the weekend. Yesterday, Jeff Green won the NASCAR Busch Series race here as Old Spice presents the NASCAR Busch Series results. Greg Biffle in a near photo. Scott Riggs, Mike McLaughlin, Todd Bodine were the first 5 across the line. The point standings in the Busch Series showed that Jack Sprague unable to capitalize as he cut down a tire and hit the wall with just a couple of laps to go. So Jason Keller is the leader by 21 points as they head for Dover, Delaware next weekend. Sears presents the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series standings, where Mike Bliss has just a 1-point lead over David Starr. Rick Crawford, Jason Leffler, and Ted Musgrave are the front 5 after 5 of 22 races.
We saw Bobby Labonte in the 18 car having to pit out of his box because of losing that left rear. He's still on the lead lap, but he will be penalized a lap because of pitting out of the box. That's the penalty when you don't make your pit stop in your pit box.
Yeah, that's too bad. He caught it, but you know, he couldn't get back in his own pit box. That's too bad.
7 times the pole winner has won the 600. Fred Lorenz and Buddy Baker. David Pearson twice and Jeff Gordon 3 times.
I'm Ben Yazzie. I'm a code talker.
I know the answer to this. Radio Shack Trivia. The Indy 500 used to be run on Monday, and so 2 drivers won the 600 at Charlotte the same year they raced in the Indy 500.
You're on your own on this one, driver, buddy.
Allison and Yarborough.
Well, wait a minute. There's Donnie and Bobby Allison.
No.
There's Cale Yarborough and Leroy Yarborough.
No. It's Allison and Yarborough.
Be specific.
Yeah, I can't do that. I know that's who it is, though.
Would it be Donnie Allison? How about that?
Leroy Yarborough, Donnie Allison.
I knew that those were the 2 names. I just couldn't remember the first name.
Let's go downstairs where the no vacancy sign is lit at the Hollywood Hotel.
All right, we're coming up here on lap 266. Now, when we get to around the 300 lap, a little bit beyond that, we're getting around 500 miles, Jeff Hammond, and then that's when you go beyond what they don't do normally when they race.
That's when I'd start watching. Lap 334 will meet 500 miles have been run. And from that point on is where the 600-mile attrition as far as the engine, the driver, anything else on this race car, when we have problems with it, I would contribute to that, the extra 100 miles we have to run here. And that's when you're going to separate the men from the boys.
And the Ironman. Ironman, Ricky Rudd setting the record tonight, currently running 4th, hanging in there. And again, the 2 Roush drivers, Kenseth and Martin, behind the current leader, Jimmy Johnson. Let's go back upstairs.
We've had 7 caution flags. We are now at exactly 2/3 of 600 miles.
And we had some of our leaders that came in like Tony Eury Jr. talked about and topped off with fuel, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bill Elliott on our lead lap cars. And this should get those guys particular where they can make this race on one more stop should it stay green.
But this is the kind of race, we talk about Kurt Busch and all the adventures he's had, but the guys that know this race and know how to win it, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, Sterling Marlin, and in 11th place, Dale Jarrett.
Green. 400 miles down, 200 to go.
On the lead lap. Boy, it's always exciting on
the
a restart.
They drive you crazy. You got a good car, but you got to contend with lap cars. get 3 wide in places you don't want to. You got guys, oh, man.
Jeff Green in the 30 car has a problem. They start stacking up behind him in 3 and 4.
He may have a flat tire, but that car hadn't been handling all that great.
Saw Frank Kimlin in 26. He had to go all the way down into the grass almost to get by.
Yeah, 30 car's trying to get out of the way, I do believe.
And Kimmel didn't get by. He comes up and almost roughs up Robbie Gordon. Now he makes the pass.
It's like the 30 car.
Oh, Jeff Burton, who had come back from the garage. Remember, they had engine troubles earlier? They've got troubles now.
Anybody going to get a lap back here? There's a good chance.
I don't think so. Caution is out, though. Caution
good chance. Nobody can make it.
Blaney and Hut Strickland. Blaney in the 77. They tried to get their lap back.
That 48 car is just too fast.
Well, and the caution came out with the leader too close to the start-finish line for him to back off and give anybody a shot.
30 car on pit road. Now, when that caution flag comes out, everybody, you know, people start checking. That was caused by that 30 car. You run up on the back of him, he's not going anywhere. That's a spotter's job to let you know that guy's in trouble.
Jeff Green gets his tire fixed. Jeff Burton goes to the garage for the second time tonight.
I bet old Scooby was drawing up then, boys.
Jeff Burton will join Ryan Newman, Ward Burton, and Kevin LePage. And we only have one car that's in the garage making repairs, Jeremy Mayfield. So still a lot of our race cars still out there, almost 500 miles into this race.
Old Scooby was saying, ruh-roh.
Yes. 18 of those cars are still on the lead lap at 404 miles.
Fox welcomes you back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. 129 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson leading Matt Kenseth. As you see the track in the background. Earlier today at the Fox Souvenir trailer, look who was on hand. Jeff Hammond signing autographs. There's Larry Mack, DW. You can pick up hats, T-shirts, all kinds of stuff. I think there's even, you know, boogity on something, right?
Yeah.
And you can pick up a CD, more exciting than Bachelorettes in Alaska, all stuck in the same igloo. Fox Sports presenting Crank It Up the CD. Slayer, Rob Zombie, Stained. That's Jeff's favorite. Head, PE's Crosstown Traffic, and Buck Cherry's on the road again. And a lot more. Crank It Up the CD. Rev your engine on race day all on your own. This collection of remixes and originals that you can't get anywhere else, although you hear it here occasionally. Crank It Up the CD, breaking the rules, and it's in stores now. And let's check out pit road and see what's going on and go down to Matt Yoakum. Matt? Dick Berggren, I'm sorry.
Matt Kenseth has run at the front or near the front all night tonight. His crew chief is Robbie Reiser. We're getting down to it, Robbie. What's the strategy from here to the checker?
I don't know. I tried to get an answer out of you, Dick, to help me with this, but probably what we'll do is run one more stop and finish the thing.
Can you do it in one more stop?
I think we can. We'll have to stretch it a little bit here in the middle, but we should be able to make it on one more. It's a little bit tight, no question about it, but we've been getting great mileage with this car all year long, so we'll just have to stretch it again.
More important, it's a fast race car. To Matt.
Dick, back in California, Slugger Labby was trying to work the fuel mileage game to your advantage, and you lost out twice on that. Are you trying to work the fuel mileage gamble again tonight, Slugger?
Well, we were trying to, but caution flags are killing us right now. We was hoping to go back green and stay green and go to 330 and pit again, and we could run, to the end there. But Napa Chevrolet's running good, and if it works out, it works out. If it don't, it don't. We've been running top 10 all day long, and that's what we come here to do, so hopefully we'll stay there.
His best finished, Michael Waltrip's here at Charlotte, third twice. Meanwhile, their teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. came in and topped off. Steve Burns?
Well, man, I just went down to Robbie Gordon's pits to check on him, see how he's doing. They said they came in, topped him off on gas, and he got a banana, trying to get some potassium in Robbie Gordon.
There you go. The old brown truck. She's very dependable.
127 laps. About 200 miles left to go.
We've had 3 lead lap cars come in and top off. Kyle Petty in the 45 just topped off, along as we heard mentioned, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bill Elliott. They just called to restart off with 1 to go. What these guys are doing, you're talking about figuring mileage. Some guys want to see more caution laps because you use less fuel. It's almost like 2 caution laps equal 1 green lap. But if you're like the 15 car, you want to go racing because you can make it.
That's right.
Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox is brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's. By the Home Depot, Nascar's Home Improvement Warehouse. And by Miller Lite. Life is best told at a place called Miller Time.
The countdown has begun. We're just 6 days away from the return of Major League Baseball on Fox. Tune in Saturday to see one of baseball's greatest rivalries renewed as Nomar Garciaparra and the Red Sox take on Jason Giambi and the Yankees, or the defending world champion Diamondbacks up against the Dodgers, plus other regional action. It all begins this Saturday, 12:30 Eastern and Pacific, right here on Fox. Under a caution, Jimmy Johnson still your leader, about 125 laps to go. Sitting fifth, Sterling Marlin, our points leader, part of the older crowd in this. And Jeff Gordon, who's yet to win this year, is sitting eighth.
Well, again, I kind of look at it like this here, Chris. You've got our point leader, Sterling Marlin, who started back in 35th. He knew he had to run 600 miles here tonight and has quietly got himself in a very solid position to make a run at these guys. And a man who knows how to win this race, Jeff Gordon, he says keeps hanging in there and keeping it close to his teammate, Jimmy Johnson.
And Dale Jarrett, the 88 car sitting at 11th, has hung in there. Let's check in with Todd Parrott. Matt Yoakum is standing by with him. Dick Bergman has been there. Dick?
Well, Dale Jarrett's car wasn't very good when they unloaded it here. It wasn't very good during practice. It wasn't very good when this race started. But it's pretty darn good right now, running an 11th spot. Todd Parrott, the crew chief, how much have you done to that race car to get it this good?
Well, we've made about 5 spring rubber changes and a little air pressure all over the place, and about 6 or 7 rounds of bike in, out. Every time there's been a caution, we pitted, starting in the back like we did, we'd have nothing to lose. 10 or 12 lap runs, we come in and adjust it on the car every time, and we've gotten it better. It's not like it needs to be, but who knows? The driver may have a little bit left in him. The car, we keep adjusting one more pit stop. Who knows? We'll have to get this thing in the top 5.
And that's the advantage of a long race. They can adjust all night long, Mike Joy.
Thanks, Dick. We've been racing for 3 hours and 11 minutes. We still have 124 laps, 188 miles to go with rookie Jimmy Johnson, who has clinched the bonus for leading the most laps tonight out front.
One thing about the caution flags, Larry, the way they've fallen tonight, they've fallen where guys can get in and work on their cars without going a lap down. Jarrett was close to going a lap down there several times early in the race, but he's come in and got that car better and better. There's several guys in that same boat. Now they're in contention.
Your car's not good. Caution's going to be a great race.
All right, let's look at the Fox track now. The pace car brings them down at 55 miles per hour. Pace car's off. Now watch how fast Jimmy Johnson. He's been great on restarts tonight. Still around 55 miles an hour. Green flag's out. Look how fast it's accelerating right there. 100 miles an hour, well over 100 miles an hour before they even get to the start-finish line. And right here, Darrell, through 1 and 2, they almost will run wide open because they're not quite up to speed right here. 157 miles an hour still climbing off the corner.
And you see how he can just pull away so quickly from everybody else. It's just an incredibly good handling car, particularly on brand new tires.
And he gets such great restarts. Already pulled out to about 5 or 6 car lengths over Matt Kenseth.
And boy, that just makes you feel so good when you've got a little cushion between you and everybody behind you.
Dave Blaney tried to get back on the lead lap, was not successful. Mark Martin has moved to second, Kenseth third, Rudd fourth, Marlin fifth.
That's the other good thing about good restarts. You don't have to race that lap car down in the corner, so it's just a little insurance. You get out front, cut to the inside, check out. Adios, amigos.
It's full nightfall now as the field cycles by under the lights. Larry, how is this racetrack different from when we started?
Well, it has much more grip. The speeds will get faster. The motors like this cooler air. They're going to make more power. And if your car was loose, it wasn't gripping the rear tires earlier in the day, now it will start to tighten up. And if you were tightening your car up on pit stops, you'll actually have to start freeing it up now. I mean, just look at the temperature right here. Yeah, the air temperature has not dropped that much, but look at the track temperature. Over 30 degrees difference, a lot more grip, making more power.
Darrell, how does this place look different to the driver from daytime?
I want to tell you, that's what happens to the driver. Now, it's okay now. We are under full lights. But when it went through that transition, the track takes on a whole different perspective for a short period of time until we get the lights up full like this. Jeff.
Guys, you're sitting there talking about how the racetrack is getting faster. Just look a second ago, Jimmy Johnson ran the fastest lap of his race tonight at lap 280.
So it just shows the racetrack's cooling down. Everything you said is coming to pass right now. And these cars are going to go faster and faster the later we get in the race.
Well, Jeff, 4 of our top 5 guys, Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, Kurt Busch, they all just ran the fastest lap. They're down in the mid-30 seconds. It wasn't that long ago. All you could run was in the mid-31s, a second faster.
And that's all because of the racetrack. You think of it like this. The drivers aren't fresher, and neither are the cars, so the conditions have got to be helping this come about.
Well, and the adjustments that have been made on the cars all through the early going has got the cars where they need to be now at the end of the night. That's what you want. And the thing you got to be careful of, those guys, this race isn't over yet. We still got over 100 miles to go. You got to nurse that thing just a little wee bit.
Matt Kenseth, our third-place car, he just ran his quickest lap, 30:51 here on lap 281.
Boy, look at this pack right here. Look at Stewart and Gordon.
Stewart and Gordon are going at each other, I'll tell you.
Somebody forgot to tell these guys it's a 600-mile race. It's not 500 miles.
Well, Jimmy Johnson's the problem. Jimmy Johnson is already, look how far out in front that cat is. So these guys have got to go.
Left side of your screen, there's Johnson.
Way up here. Look at him, way up here by himself.
Almost 2 seconds out.
And that's just in 3 laps.
There you have teammates. Mark Martin in the 6, Matt Kenseth in the 17. Mark Martin, he has a million reasons to win this race. That Winston Noble $5 million bonus for winning, plus $1 million for a fan.
18 cars on the lead lap. 9 of them have just turned their fastest lap of the race. So let's run down whose car is the best it's been all night right now. The front 5, Johnson, Martin, Kenseth, Rudd, and Busch. Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace. As the pass occurs for second place, Kenseth taking second. Those cars just ran their fastest lap of the night in this segment.
And now you're going to get a chance, folks, at home to see what we talk about when we talk about this track being rough. Watch these cars occasionally down in turn 1 particularly. Sparks fly out from under them. That's what we talk about, let the rough side drag. That's what these guys are starting to do. We're winding this thing down. It's time to get up on the wheel.
And what's happening, they're running faster, entering the corner faster, traveling more. That's why they start bottoming out more.
This is getting real close to the time to stop working your mouth and start working your hands.
Excuse me. Kurt Busch just took 4th from Ricky Rudd. So Busch, who has come from the back to the front twice tonight already, is on that march once again. He's now 3.1 seconds off the lead.
There were some of those sparks. You'll see that as more and more cars will start to do that as the evening gets, if we get into nighttime.
You'll even see them bounce around and almost spark here at the end of the backstretch. That's where the tunnel is. That's probably about the roughest place of the racetrack where the cars go in and out of the infield going into 3.
And again, Larry, like you said, the speeds are faster. There's more grip. And so that car goes in there and it sinks more than it has all night long.
Jack Roush has 4 cars in this race. Jeff Burton behind the wall. But the other Roush cars are running right there, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And that's been pretty common a lot this year, contrary to a year ago.
And Ricky Rudd is right there as well.
The new Iron Man, most consecutive starts.
The big question on Ricky Rudd, how long will he race? There are rumors of retirement. Rudd says he's done with multi-year contracts. He wants to take it 1 season at a time. He says he'll run as long as he feels he can be competitive. The way he's running right now, I'd bet on him, another 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, he may run that Ironman record way on out there. I'd run that paint job way on out there. I know that, because that's working good tonight.
But he's had a good car all night long, but fell way back about the middle part of the race. They had a bad pit stop. They had a problem with the right front, but he's fought his way back to the top 5 now.
That's boilerplate all over the side of that thing that looks pretty neat. Put a little flame job on there. Look, go on that hood, back on those gray fenders. That looked really nice.
Rudd is in 5th. Let's go back to the 9th place car. That would be Tony Stewart back there, just ahead of Jeff Gordon. Here's Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, Tony Stewart's been in the top 10 all night, and he is Exhibit A for guys who have been struggling all night. Early in the race, he was loose. They pulled spring rubbers out. Then it got to the point where they were inconsistent. He said he'd be loose 1 lap, tight the next. Now he's just fighting tight. So he's been struggling all night to stay inside the top 10.
Larry, you said earlier this weekend, this race would go to the car and the team with the best adjustability as Gordon passes Stewart for 9th, the team that could best adapt.
I mean, that's the thing, because we've talked about it a lot tonight. This racetrack goes through a lot of transitions, but 2 major transitions, from when it started to when the sun went down, and now that it's completely dark. And you have to make sometimes major adjustments, and those spring rubbers are major adjustments.
Jimmy Johnson has led 199 laps tonight. In 1967, Jim Pascal led 335 laps to win the 600. 104 laps left to go. 160 miles left to race. Jimmy Johnson continues to lead here. He's led 207 of the 297 laps, and he has almost 3 seconds on Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch.
Now is when you really start to feel the distance, how long this race really is. These guys have been running pretty hard all night long, particularly Jimmy Johnson. Some of the guys at the front start to get a little arm weary, start to get a little bit tired. Oh, neck starts hurting just a little bit. Back gets a little kink in it, and you start asking, how much further is it? How much further we got to go?
And what kind of mistakes do you start making when that happens as Kurt Busch pulls down on second place Matt Kenseth?
Well, anytime you lose your focus, anytime you start thinking about things inside the car instead of things outside the car, you're going to get in trouble.
Kurt Busch, again, he's come from the back twice, had to start back there at the beginning of the race because of an engine change, and had a caution, brought a caution out, lap 10, spun out, stayed on the lead lap, and he's fighting his teammate, Matt Kenseth, for second. But, Darrell, I know as a crew chief, the last 100 laps here, we won this thing in 1991 with Davey Allison, things kind of get quiet on the radio, and I'm sitting there as a crew chief just wondering when he's going to come on the radio and say, boys, she just blew up.
Normally when it gets quiet, though, that's when the driver, he's showing that he's tired because he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to take the time and take the energy to send a message to you. So when I get quiet on the radio, I think Jeff would tell you that meant I was probably getting kind of tired, and he needed to get on there and pump me up and say, hey, driver, you ain't falling out of the seat, are you?
You're exactly right, and that's what you got to do at this point of the race. You got to realize that as a crew chief. And I think that's one reason why you and I were pretty successful. I have a feel for that as we see Sterling Marlin trying to make a move on Jeff Gordon. You've got to get in there with the driver, let him know he's not by himself, encourage him a little bit, be that cheerleader, because this last 100 miles is so important to not only you, but to him to know he's got friends out there caring about it.
And, Jeff, another group we have to pump up. We know they've already made about 8 or 9 pit stops tonight. They're getting tired, that pit crew, and you have to pump them up. It has that green flag look. We know we all have to make one more stop. This is a stop that can make the most important move right here. No mistakes.
Yeah, and the thing about the driver, you can tell in a driver's voice. If you're a crew chief and a driver that worked together for a long time, you can tell so much about the car, the conditions, how the driver's doing just by listening to his voice, because you've heard it time and time again.
And as we talked about earlier, those caution flags just a while back were probably kind of like a breath of fresh air for everybody. Gave them a chance to kind of collect their thoughts, take their deep breaths, and get everything kind of wound up. As we see the crew right there loosen up a little bit. Hey, everybody's starting to tighten up here a little bit, trying to get refocused and beat the kinks out.
Now, I've used to see Hammond do that to his head, but I never saw a guy do it to his back.
The hammer's not big enough, Harold.
Jimmy Johnson leading the race. His mentor and co-car owner, Jeff Gordon, has climbed up to 8th spot, Matt.
Mikey has quietly moved up that scoring pylon. And Robbie Loomis, what are you going to make your last stop, and what are you going to make adjustment-wise to that race car to make it a race-winning car?
Next stop probably be about 25, 30 laps. Really, you know, we've had to loosen the car up a lot to run back there in traffic. To get a position to get him out front, we're going to have to tighten the car up a little bit for that clean air.
How many times we heard Jeff Gordon's aero package works best when he's out front in clean air, and that's where it's working tonight. We've heard him say that several times on the radio, Steve Burns.
Matt, with Mike Beam, crew chief on the 32, 100 to go. What's your strategy, Mike?
Well, I'll tell you, I really don't know right yet. You know, we've tightened the car up, we've loosened it up. You know, it's pretty balanced right now, but getting a little bit farther behind, and I don't know what we're going to do right now. We're going to try to stop here and try to just roll the dice here. So we freed it up, and it wasn't good. We tightened it up, and it's decent. So we're just going to change some air pressure here and just see what we got.
The leader is no longer the fastest car on the racetrack. Second place Matt Kenseth is right now. He's about 0.2 of a second quicker than the laps being put down by leader Jimmy Johnson.
But a guy that has a fast car, we just talked to him, Ricky Craven, in that 32 car. He's right there with some of the fastest cars as well. We look at the Fox tracks. This is Matt Kenseth, our second place. You see the miles per hour here. That was down in the middle of turn 1 and 2, down the backstretch. He's about 2¼ seconds behind our leader right now, Jimmy Johnson.
And Kurt Busch gets a run.
I believe Kenseth let him go. I think Kenseth knows that Busch is a little bit quicker, so he let him go. Plus, trying to get to that fuel window, Larry.
And we know the speeds are faster, and I talked about this earlier. The faster you run, the more fuel you're going to use, and it makes it hard to base it off fuel mileage you were getting in the beginning of this race when the speeds were slower.
Oh, yeah, you're going to pick up fuel. You know, you're going to start burning more fuel.
Let's go all the way back to lap 11 when Kurt Busch brought out the first caution of the day after 11 laps had been completed. Here it is.
It was in the daylight then. Almost hit those water barrels in that retaining wall there at the entrance of pit road, but right here he got it fired back up. Jimmy Johnson was leading the race. He beat Jimmy back to the line, stayed on the lead lap, and here he is in second place.
Jeff, what you got, bud?
Guys, I'm sitting there watching that 17 car and watching his lap time. There's something going wrong with that 17 car. He's dropped way off the pace, and Dick Bergen, I think you got some information on it.
Yeah, unfortunately I do, and Matt Kenseth's problem is that he has a vibration in that automobile. The crew is on the wall. They're getting ready to bring Kenseth in. If he does come in, they're going to adjust the chassis with a round, but it is the vibration that they are concerned about.
He's on pit road right now, 45 miles an hour. We know if he's pitting here, no matter if they fix the problem, he'll have to make one more stop. He'll have to make an extra stop, and everybody else should just stay green.
Unless he catches a caution, he's out of it.
There he comes. Kenseth on pit road right now. About the only thing they can do to try to fix this problem conveniently, at least, on a pit stop is to change 4 tires and hope that something had gone wrong with one of those 4 tires, causing the vibration. Kenseth, disappointing on pit road. He had a shot to win it. He's now out and back onto the racetrack.
Meanwhile, battle for third place. Mark Martin, Ricky Craven. Craven around the outside takes over third.
Yeah, Craven had been wearing Mark out, and Mark was really kind of holding him up. So he let him go, I believe. Craven's on a real tear right now. You know, Jimmy, just think about Jimmy Johnson, Larry, Mike. He won both segments of the Winston over here the other night. Started in 20th place or in 10th place in the shootout. Got back to 5th. Had the fastest car. Comes over, wins the pole, sets a track record, dominates the race. I mean, they can get any better than this.
And he's a rookie.
Is he really? Are you sure? I think we need to go find out.
Jimmy, let's just try to be easy on the fuel, buddy, all right?
If you can believe it, I've been letting off really early.
Well, if he's easing that car, that's bad news for the rest of this field.
I don't know if, I wonder if anybody of his competition was monitoring that. That'd be a scary thought.
Well, we did see his lap times drop off a bit, and that was probably the reason why, trying to conserve fuel.
And the way you conserve fuel is you back off the throttle a little earlier, get in the corner, let the car roll a little longer, especially when you have a good lead, and you pick up the gas a little later. Matt Yoki.
Well, you're exactly right. Jimmy Johnson may have another heartbreaker here tonight. Chad Kadaus told me they were about 8 to 10 laps shy of making it on one more stop like the 2014. Their engine package a little more aggressive, which means it gets a little less fuel economy. That's one reason why Jimmy Johnson's on the bottom. It's the shortest way around this racetrack. Trying to save fuel, trying to pick up his first 600-mile victory. Predict.
Well, the crew from that Kenseth's car is just pouring over the tire that came off it. There is a tire with a definite problem. Some of the tread is missing. Goodyear has not had a chance to look at this. They don't really know what's wrong with it. To Steve.
Well, Dick, Ricky Rudd just radioed his crew and said, this is the tightest my race car has been all night. I can't get the front end to point downhill.
Would you expect that at this stage in the race?
Well, are you talking about being tight?
Yes.
Yes, I would. That's exactly what's going to happen. And also what happens is when it gets tight, it abuses the right front. That's what happened to Kenseth's car. You're planting that right front now. You're going down in there, driving hard, picked up about a second. You're working on that right front now, and if your car's too tight, you're going to use it up.
Another thing you're doing if your car's tight, the car's bound up, and when you're on the throttle, it has the engine bound up. It's using more fuel. The tighter you are, the more fuel you're going to use as well. You know, Matt Kenseth, even though he was right there, not that far behind Jimmy Johnson, making that 4-tire green flag stop, he lost a lap and a half as these cars are out there running under green.
Well, he's coming back up through the field. He just goes around Sterling Marlin right there.
But he has those 4 fresh tires.
So now only 17 cars are left on the lead lap at Lowe's Motor Speedway with 86 to go.
Nascar by DuPont, bringing you the miracles of science for 200 years. By Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers. And by Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines.
80 laps, 120 miles left to go here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Crews and fans looking on the big screen, seeing what you're seeing. Seeing Jimmy Johnson now lead 230 of the 320 laps, and Kurt Busch 1.3 seconds back. Everybody else, it's a ways. Ricky Craven 8 seconds back. Mark Martin 9 seconds. Ricky Rudd 12. Jeff Gordon 13. Look at Johnson. Set the track record. Broke Earnhardt Jr.'s 2-year-old record. And as he dominated this race.
231 laps.
Now 5 drivers going for that $1 million no bull bonus. And 5 fans paired with them. Here's how they fare. Martin Stewart and Marlin still in it to win it.
All in the top 10. Of course, Jeremy Mayfield still out there, 98 laps down. Ryan Newman losing the engine earlier. His truck has already left the racetrack.
Yes. Jeremy Mayfield's come back on the track after repairs, but he's getting the black flag.
Yeah, it's getting, late in the race, and everybody's tired. You don't need a guy out there that can't run up to speed, so that's a good call.
Matt Kenseth trying to get back onto the lead lap. Former winner of this race, Dick Berggren.
Well, to win one of these things, Mike, you have to be good and everything has to work your way. Kenseth's problem, a flat tire. The reason for the flat tire, a small piece of metal cut one of the belts. Just plain bad luck.
Well, sometimes you got to be lucky. And tonight he just wasn't lucky because he was good enough to win this race. He certainly was hanging in there.
And he's kind of in a catch-22 situation. If this thing stays green, he's going to have to make an extra stop. If a caution comes out, he's going to be a lap down.
Well, when they start making green flag pit stops, if we get to that point, that's when we have a chance for a caution. Because guys are going to be on new tires, guys are going to be on old tires, different pit strategies, and that's when you got that real fast closing rate.
3 veterans on the lead lap. Oh, I said veterans. I don't know if I should have done that and then talk right about Rusty Wallace, but let's face it, he's one of the most experienced drivers here. He is in 11th place with Terry Labonte 12th and Bill Elliott 13th, former Winston Cup champs. Right there, 11th, 12th, 13th on the lead lap, about 2/3 of a lap down, but still in contention.
Oh, yeah. See by our Fox tracks, about 20-something seconds back, and lap times here around the 30, 31-second bracket, so that's about 2/3 of a lap. But, Darrell, the thing I'm impressed about the 2 car is the fact that they were putting water in that thing, trying to cool it down on lap 50. I'd have never believed it would have went this far, Dick Berggren.
No, indeed. It's just been a strange night. All kinds of bizarre things are happening, and fuel is going to be an issue, no question about it, as this race wears on.
Not kidding about Rusty. He said he didn't want to be called a veteran driver, but on this weekend especially, where being called a veteran is a badge of honor, that's one that I think Rusty and Terry and Bill should wear proudly.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no other sport I know of where when you're a veteran of your sport, that is a compliment.
Yes.
Talk about veterans of Lowe's Motor Speedway. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, he's battling Ricky Rudd in the 28. This is a battle for 5th. We almost knew, Darrell, this was another one of those guys. When it got past lap 300, he would show up in that top 5.
Passing Elliott Sadler, who started on the outside pole, but has had problems in his 12 laps down.
Gordon's car can't be all that different than the 48 car is. And I think it's just a matter of Gordon getting after it right here at the end.
Hasn't won since Kansas last fall. Went on to win the Winston Cup Championship despite not posting another victory, but his 4th title. But winless this year. A strange start to this season for Jeff Gordon.
I just think it's how much the heat's been turned up, guys. I mean, these young kids come in here, they're all aggressive, they're all young, they're all up on the wheel. They haven't made $41 million. They just want to.
I love your phrase. This isn't funny no more.
This isn't funny no more. People were laughing at Jimmy Johnson there for, well, just a rookie, he'll be okay. But now they don't laugh so much.
Well, Darrell, when you were a young gun, and the names at the top were Allison Petty, Yarborough, Pearson, there weren't so many young guns running so well.
Oh, well, we'd come in 1 or 2 at a time. I came along, then Dale came along, then Bill came along, Rusty. 1 at a time. It wasn't so obvious. What makes it so obvious now, there's so many of them. Terry Labonte smacked the fence off turn 4 there a couple laps ago, and he's on pit road.
But we are getting to that window where we're getting close to green flag stop. I tell you, a kid that's having a great run. I'm just proud as I can be of him. Casey Atwood, he's been on the lead lap. He's up to 13th position. But Darrell, Mike, I think what has made a difference here is Tony Furr coming on board as the crew chief. Was crew chief on that 25 car, Jerry Nadeau, and that car always ran well here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
You got that right, and they're doing a great job, and that team's due for some good luck.
And he's on track to have his best finish of the season, Darrell, 18th at Bristol.
Here comes the 32 car on pit road, one of the front runners. Oh, wait a minute. Is that 32? Yeah,
yes. Craven will give up third place with this pit stop.
And these are all scheduled pit stops. Here comes Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Steve Burns.
5-way, 4-way.
Larry Mack, this could be their last stop of the night. They have to have a perfect stop. Jim Carbon on the front tires. Tony Enderle on the rear. No chassis adjustment for the 32. Take a tear off the windshield. Give him a clean windshield. Left side tires going on. No other adjustments for Ricky Craven. Could be his last stop of the night.
Tony Stewart is in, completing his stop with left side tires. Full tank of fuel, and the leader, Jimmy Johnson, and Mark Martin are coming in, Matt.
And he had an empty pit to drive through. Jimmy Johnson, they are going to make a wedge adjustment. Jimmy was saying the car was tight in and tight through the center and decent off. 4-tire change. Good-looking stop so far, and he's down and away.
Michael Walkett's in, Sterling Marlin, Dale Jarrett, all these lead lap cars, all these scheduled pit stops.
Here comes Jeff Gordon on pit road.
It's like somebody got on the same frequency. Let's all pit.
Gordon and Rudder in. Well, Larry, if one of the leaders pits and gets 4 of those fresh tires, can you afford to stay out there?
Well, there's 2 agendas, and here's our leader right now, Kurt Busch in the 97. If you need to go to where you can make the distance, you're on your own agenda right now. If you can go the distance, you need to run that lap. The downside is, on fresh tires, they're going to be running a lot faster than you. Steve Burns, how about Ricky Rudd?
Yeah, they just made a chassis adjustment, Larry, but Ricky said on his way down pit road, don't loosen me up too much. He's been fighting tight. And the stop is completed for Ricky Rudd.
Kurt Busch sails through his pit. Dick Berggren.
The reason Kurt Busch sailed through his pit was because Rusty Wallace was pulling out just as Busch came in. Now, Busch's crew has to push him all the way back to get it into his pit. A very lengthy pit stop for Busch, the leader, but he's got more trouble than that. The engine is not running on all 8 cylinders at the moment. They think there's a possibility. They've dropped one.
I mean, look at that pit stop, 26, 27 seconds. I mean, this is twice the length that a pit stop should take. He's going to lose almost 2 laps on this pit stop. Plus, he's got to be careful, maintain 45 miles an hour leaving pit road.
Now, one of the things I used to fuss at Jeff about, do not bring me in the pit under green when somebody is in the pit box in front of us or behind us. I need to have a clear shot because it's so critical.
Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, he's leading the race. Bill Elliott, the 9 car, second. Casey Atwood, Kyle Petty, that's the top 4. Remember, this is cars that topped off after all the other cars ran, so they can run a little bit further, but we know they can make it on one more stop.
Earnhardt Jr. restarted 16th at lap 278, and he now is the leader. Bill Elliott second.
But the problem is, Darrell, he's running 3280s. These guys that pitted, Mark Martin, those guys, they're running 3140s and 50s.
Oh, yeah, he better not stay out there too long.
But he needs to get to his fuel window. Matt Kenseth.
Robbie Gordon has made a pit stop.
97.
So has Jeff Green. Casey Atwood now third. Riding with Casey. And the black flag is out for Kurt Busch.
So his troubles continued.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when that happened, I mean, he went through the pit. His crew was out in the middle of pit road. They were scattered everywhere. Ruined his whole night, Steve.
DW Bill Elliott into the attention of his crew. Right side tires going on. Cleaning the windshield for Bill Elliott. Make sure he can see for the closing lap. No other chassis adjustments. Left side tires now going on the 9 car for Bill Elliott. His service is complete. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Steve, the Budweiser number Chevy, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will make what will be more than likely his last stop unless we get another caution. He can go the distance on this last stop. Remember, they came in and topped off on lap 272. Junior says the car is good on entry, but tight in the center like most everyone else tonight. Let's see if Jeff Clark makes a wedge adjustment. He did
Well, Kurt Busch's troubles will continue on. They had the penalty for the tire rolling across. He was too fast leaving, so he now has to do a drive-through down pit road. He don't have to stop at his pits, but he has to run down pit road 45 miles an hour.
Casey Atwood, he stalled his car and he couldn't get it started. The crew had to push him. He's slow off pit lane.
There's the pass-through right there, 45 miles an hour. You have to make sure you don't speed again. But all those cars I talked about, Kyle Petty, Casey Atwood, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt Jr., they all made their stops. And Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car, as he puts Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, down a lap, he's back in the lead.
Now here's what happened to Kurt Busch for the original infraction. There it goes. There goes the tire. And one of the officials catches it, but it's out of the pit box. And that's it.
Costly mistake. We're from leading the race to he's going to be about 3 laps down now.
Jimmy Johnson is back to the front with 60 laps, 90 miles to go.
But it's looking like we will.
Thousands of wannabes will sing for the chance to become a star. But in
Fox welcomes you back. Hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day weekend. And crazy things happen when a full moon is out. That's not something you're going to hear on the Crank It Up CD, although Jimmy Johnson has been cranking it up. He has really dominated, leading the most laps. And our Visa race summary, after 345 laps, we've had 11 leaders, 20 lead changes, 8 cautions for 44 laps, and the average green speed 170 miles per hour. Jeff Hammond, the 334 lap mark was the 500-mile mark of this race, and this being the longest race of the NASCAR season. The driver leading at the 500-mile mark has failed to win the last 4 races here, but Jimmy Johnson is trying to change that.
I know he's trying to change it, Chris, but I think he may be in trouble because of this fuel mileage alone. But a lot of crew chiefs right now have just taken a real deep breath, and they're going to be holding over the next 100 miles, trying to make sure that their car makes it this final 100 miles. It's going to be very important. And I believe Matt Yoakum got some more information on Jimmy Johnson.
Well, Chad Canals continues to crunch the numbers. A 2-time Coca-Cola 600 winner when he was with the 24 team. Continues to crunch the numbers on the calculator. They've now told Jimmy, you need to start backing off. You need to start backing off and conserve fuel. Chris?
Well, the wear and tear, we've had only 3 engine failures here, and of course the 1-engine rule this year, the most engine failure in races this season, 5 at Rockingham, Atlanta, and California. I think the 97 car just blew up.
Yeah, they said he had trouble when he came in. He's starting to show a little bit of smoke right there, but I know when they were talking about, he said he had a vibration or thought he was losing a cylinder, and this is when you'll start to see it, is that final 100 miles right there usually gets the guys in trouble. Plus, he may have been a little bit excited coming out of the pits that last time, and it may have done some damage to the engine, too.
And after coming from the back of the pack twice and being near the top, he was almost ready to make as great a comeback as the Lakers did Sunday night, who came back from 24 down to beat the Kings in the NBA playoffs.
It really is. It's very disheartening because he did. He had a great race, and, you know, it looked like he could possibly challenge Jimmy Johnson tonight, and that was really going to be spectacular if he could have come from the back twice and put a challenge on to win.
Still 4 of the top 5 are Fords, but the leader is in a Chevy, and that's Jimmy Johnson. Let's go back upstairs.
Yeah, the 97 car is down on the cylinder. I mean, he's slow on the straightaway. He's still getting through the turns all right, but he's lost his cylinder for sure.
Yeah, it actually started happening before that sequence of pit stops. Now, he may have not helped it any by no means by turning a lot of RPMs, but it was starting to slow on the straightaway before that first green flag set of pit stops a while ago.
She was wounded, and he just went on and put her out of her misery.
Well, now Jimmy Johnson made a pit stop with 104 miles to go. Is that within range?
That's close. That's 69 laps. But what I like about where he's sitting, we have 50 laps to go, and as Mark Martin just passed Matt Kenseth for second, we know Matt Kenseth has to stop again. And Jimmy Johnson has almost a 6-second lead on Mark Martin. There, what you do with that driver is you keep him posted. You slow him down, but you keep him posted where the second-place car is, where you can help him conserve that fuel by backing off early, picking the throttle up a little later.
Yeah, I would normally, it depends on how much they're going to, how short they're going to come up. If it's 10 or 12 laps or so, you just got to go on and try to get as far ahead as you can, make as good a stop as you can, and hope everybody else has to stop behind you. But if it's going to be close and you slow him down, back him up, you can get 2 or 3 laps, but you can't get 10 or 12.
Well, here's the math. Jimmy Johnson has to go 104 miles. These cars hold 22 gallons of fuel. If they get an average of 4.5 miles per gallon, he's 5 miles short. He's got to be getting better than 4.5 to make it.
Yeah, that's one of the things you always like to do is to know that you have maybe a little bit more in that tank than you're supposed to have. And that's just by wear and tear of a 500-mile race, 600-mile race tonight. I always like to, I called Jeff, said, "Did you get it full?" And he said, "No, we just got 2 cans in it." That was insurance.
Here's our battle for 6 right here. Jeff Gordon in the 24, Michael Waltrip in the 15. And I tell you, Michael, he's been hanging out in that top 10 all day, all night long.
In the back straightaway, I think that's Stacy Compton, very slow. And is he going to make it to pit road?
I don't know, he just looks like a left side tire. He just come out of the pits. But Nick, following up a little bit on Michael, he told me he was going to run good tonight. He's told me that before. But I'm going to tell you, he passed Gordon, and he's been up there in the top 10 all night, and he's doing a great job. I'm proud of him tonight.
Stacy Compton will make it to pit road, so we'll stay green with no problem.
Whoa, buddy, whoa! Now that's loose right there. That's coming. That's push loose. Had the wheels cut to the left, in the throttle, back in comes around, snaps around.
And that's where Gordon went by him. Then he repassed Jeff Gordon, and that's why 6th and 7th place has been changing hands.
He was up on the wheel then.
Caution is out. Ride with Jimmy Johnson and see why.
Got the 23 car there in front of him. Hut Strickland. Get off into the 3rd turn here. Whoa.
No. Stay up there. Stay up there. Stay up there. Right here in front of you. Come on, baby. Come on. Awesome job, Jimmy. Awesome job, buddy.
What a great job by that spotter.
See if Strickland got, down on the flat.
Yeah. He came up in front of Johnson. But I tell you, normally that car would have gone up, hit that outside retaining wall right in front of Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, both those guys did
nowhere to go.
Well of a job.
And Strickland was the 15th place car. He was having a good run.
He was trying to stay on the lead lap.
What you see right here is strategy is over with. Everybody to pit road, everybody on the lead lap, 4 tires full of fuel, Dick Berger.
And Matt Kenseth needed that yellow flag badly. He could not have made it all the way on fuel. They're going to put just 1 can in, hoping that's going to tighten the car up, make the chassis just right. It will be a 4-tire change for the run to the end. To Steve.
Dick, Ricky Craven needed his too. They get a track bar adjustment for him. He had gotten loose. 4 tires for Ricky Craven. Let's go to bat.
Jimmy Johnson needed to back up about 1.5 feet in his pit stall. The guys around the left side, Chris Anderson, the 7th grade school teacher, big 1 pump on that jack. And he is now down and away. They made an air pressure adjustment. Loses a lot of position on pit road. Made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. He felt like he needed a little more help because it's going to be a shorter run.
Well, I know he's got a fast race car, but he went from about 1st to 10th. But there's the man that won the battle off pit road, Mark Martin, in that 6 car. Those boys came through and they needed to.
Little mistakes. Matt, did Jimmy just overshoot his pit? Matt Yoakum?
Mike, just barely.
It's been a problem down there all night for him. It seemed like he wants to get in there. He's coming all the way to the end of pit road, carrying a little speed in there, trying to make up time. Hurt him that time.
So Jimmy Johnson, who has dominated this race, has just put himself in a hole once again. We'll be right back.
Hey, Jared.
Hey. Has to go here. It's going to be tough to get back to the front.
But he's going to restart 9th, but because of the lap cars, he's like restarting this race in 18th position, outside 9th row. But you know, that's where he had to restart that Winston the other night, too, after winning that 2nd segment.
But he only came back to 5th
Only came
place.
back to 5th.
That's about as good as he's going to do tonight.
There's
That
your
6th car
track.
may just check out on all of them right here, boys.
And look how far back Johnson is on the restart because he overshot his pit.
Green flag.
All the way back from that leader.
Well, Bill Elliott's spun the tires, and Jimmy's going to get by him real easy.
You can pass to the right-hand side until you get to the start-finish line. Then they're back to racing. Pass them anywhere.
Bill jumped sideways on that restart. Had to get out of the gas. Jimmy took advantage of on the outside. That helped him a little bit.
Johnson has a long way to go and just 57 miles to get there.
And has lap cars to deal with along with lead lap cars. Dick Bergeron.
Well, Mark Martin really didn't need to see that yellow flag come out because he's one of the drivers who had enough fuel to go all the way to the end of this race. Martin has won a dozen times here at the Lowe Motor Speedway, in IROC, the Busch Series, Winston Cup. Tonight, on top of the box, Ben Leslie, his crew chief, has never won anywhere as a crew chief. He has just told his driver, cinch him up, you are the best there are on a short run like this. To Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Ricky Rudd, the new Ironman, they came in, they had a tremendous pit stop, didn't make any chassis adjustments, 4 tires. He is running second, Matt Yoakum.
Steve, on his previous stop, Jeff Gordon, a 3-time Coke 600 winner. His crew made an air pressure adjustment, 1 pound in the right rear. He was tight. On this last stop, down on the track bar, Gordon says his car loose at the beginning of the run, but it gets better and better. Will it be good enough to get him his 4th 600 victory? That we'll have to wait and see.
You want to see the difference in the beginning of the race and down here near the end of the race? Watch that 17 car. When he sticks it right in under that 28 car, it makes the pass.
Racetrack has lots of grip, and boy, what an up and down 100 laps for Matt Kenseth. Remember, he was on pit road at lap 307 with a tire problem, went a lap and a half down. He needed that caution flag white go, and now he's up here running in second, running his teammate down.
And the other thing about it, how many times have we seen that 24 get back in traffic and he can't go anywhere? Jimmy Johnson's back in traffic. Guess what?
Arrow push.
Can't go anywhere with his arrow push.
He's only moved up 1 position. That was on the restart past Bill Elliott.
That's right. Those cars seem to really be fast out in clean air, but they seem to really struggle in traffic.
Now here's where Johnson can do some catching up, because he can get clean air over that nose. And aerodynamically, that'll help the car stick. If he's up behind another car, aerodynamically, the car will not get the downforce and it'll push up the racetrack.
Well, he's sitting on a hot stove.
Yes.
I can tell you that. They just better hope that he doesn't sweat too much.
33 laps to go. 3rd place battle. Craven Rudd.
And they're about a 10th slower than our leader, Mark Martin, 2nd place, Matt Kenseth in the 17.
Now, listen, Mark was running really good all night. Has been all night long. It does. He gets out front with clean air. I think they got trouble. Jimmy Johnson will not be able to catch him without a caution.
Stacy Compton and Ron Hornaday have taken their cars to the garage. This is the 9th time that Mark Martin has been in contention for the $1 million bonus. He has never won it. Not yet.
Well, and he hadn't won a race for a while. I know he wants it. I know he wants it bad. It's been getting better every week. His team, you know, they made those adjustments on the team from last year. It's time to show what you got.
That was Mark Martin's fan there pulling for her man right there. If he can win this race, he wins $1 million. She wins $1 million from Winston. Right now, Matt Kenseth in 2nd place. His teammate, last 2 laps, he's been about a 10th quicker. Both of those laps, he is coming.
A lot was made in the Formula One race a couple of weeks ago when Rubens Barrichello, leading the race, had to pull over just before the finish line and let his Ferrari teammate Michael Schumacher get the win and the points. No such team orders in NASCAR, even though Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth are teammates. Now, it's every man for himself.
The thing about this, he's got a lot of fans, Mark does. His whole pit crew's pulling for him because he's going to share the wealth. He said if he won the Winston Million, he would share it with the crew.
30 to go, buddy.
That's the kind of guy Mark Martin is.
Kenseth not eligible for the $1 million bonus at this race.
Right around Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He's trying to get around the car that was in front of him a while ago when he got into him. Hutch Strickland in the 23, and he's bottled up behind all these lap cars.
Little smoke out of Earnhardt Jr. in the back straightaway.
Well, we're standing on the gas right now, and it's going to. Now is when the engines are really taking a pounding.
He's coming to pit road. He was running in 9th position.
Pit road, all the belts are gone.
All the belts are gone.
Oil pump drive belt.
Power steering, the whole shooting match shot off the front of her.
It has an external oil pump that's driven by a belt, so no oil pressure. Matt Yoakum.
Blew up.
Well, he came on the radio and said all the belts are gone. You heard that. He says the power steering belt's gone. Jeff Clark, he just came on the radio and said it blew up on the back straightaway. Jeff Clark and Tony Eury Jr. Clark, the engine tuner for Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to look underneath the car. Looks like his chances for his first 600 win is gone tonight. Dick?
Well, problems with both the leader and 2nd place simultaneously. Just moments ago, Mark Martin came on the radio and simply said, it's pushing again. Kenseth, 17, in 2nd spot. Just talked to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser. The motor's stumbling. 1st and 2nd, having problems, Mike.
Well, they may be, Dick, but they are running pace equal to the start of this race, 30.9 seconds per lap.
I think that's one of those just kiddings.
Yeah, I mean, they're running equal time to each other, and they are the fastest 2 cars. But that guy in that 24 car, the Flames, he's pretty quick, too. He's in 5th position.
Boy, he is.
Battling Ricky Rudd for 4th.
He's closing in on that group right there really quick on TIDE and on Ricky both.
but they are 3 seconds behind the leader with only 26 laps to go. Mark Martin is our leader. We're going away. We'll be back for the run to the checkered flag on NASCAR's longest night. Just 23 laps to go in the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway, but oh, what a night it's been. Jimmy Johnson has led 263 laps, but a little mistake overshooting his pit has put him back in the field. Mark Martin's the leader, and this kind of thing keeps happening.
Robbie Gordon in the 31, Ken Schrader in the 36 get together, and boy, that was close.
Down, Ken Schrader, down.
But you know, Robbie Gordon, he's about 22 laps away. He's a lap down, but he's 22 laps away from running a mile and a half shy of 1,100 miles today. 500 at Indy and 600 minus a mile and a half for 1 lap down here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
He did it in 97, again in 2000, although P.J. Jones started the car here at Charlotte in 2000, so Gordon wasn't credited with the start. So officially, this is his second time to do the double.
And boy, you know he has got to be one beaten young man in there. That's a hard day's work.
He's in 17th position right now.
Boy, Jeff Gordon.
Come on, baby, you do it.
That's what I like to hear. Tell him he can do it. He doesn't know he can do it. You got to tell him he can do it.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been taken to the garage out of the race.
Guess what, guys? That 17 car, Larry, with those flames on the hood, he's inching in on that 6 car.
Yeah, last couple laps, he's been about a 10th quicker than his teammate and leader, Mark Martin. And, you know, they're definitely going to catch some more lap cars before this thing's over. We heard Mark talk about his car pushing. The more lap traffic he has to fight, the more it's going to push. Takes that front downforce away as he catches those cars.
Well, 26-year-old Jimmy Johnson dominated this race. 43-year-old Mark Martin started 25th tonight. No 600-mile winner at Charlotte has ever started that far back.
Got to give a call to our drivers, our veteran drivers, because they're all right up there in the top 10 or 12 tonight. And that's just that's the product of this race. Knowing the track, going through the transitions it goes through, plus the extra 100 miles.
There you see with our Fox tracks, Ricky Craven in 3rd, in the 32, Ricky Rudd in the 28 and 4th, Jeff Gordon in the 24 and 5th, and they're about 4.5 seconds behind our leader right now, Mark Martin, with 18 laps to go. And they're about 2/10 of a lap slower than our leader.
So if we stay green, the only driver who legitimately has a shot at Martin is his Roush Racing teammate in that yellow car, Matt Kenseth.
And right then, that lap, he was 2/10 quicker than his teammate. He's reeling them in, boys. He's about 3 car lengths away, but there's lap cars up in front of him.
Mark Martin can make an extra $1 million if he wins this race. The Winston No Bull 5, and so can the fan that is paired with him.
And right there, that's where Matt's so much stronger. He's able to drive that thing down into turn 3, bring it to the bottom. He picked up about 2 car lengths right there in the middle of 3 and 4, and then picked that throttle.
Yeah, I think what he's doing, he's floating it down in there, Larry. But boy, when it gets there, he nails it wide open. And if you nail 800 horsepower, you're going to leap forward.
Let's go to the garage. Steve Burns.
Mike, disappointing end of the night for Dale Earnhardt Jr. What happened, Dale?
I had some pulleys come off the front of the motor. Bolt came out into the crank, the pulley flew off and threw all the belts off and burned the car up. But it was a tough night. We was running pretty good, felt like we was in good position to run well, and got into the wall trying to get around a lap car. And we got a chance to fix the car and get it back decent to where we get us top 10. That's what we was kind of shooting for, just to get a good finish. Motor blew up. Thanks.
Guys, you can tell he's hot, he's tired. This was a hot race. And just remember, we keep talking about Robbie Gordon, but this is quite a feat, this boy. He has 500 more miles under his belt than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Plus a little, you know, from Indianapolis flying down here, getting on a helicopter, coming in and running the race. I don't care. Anybody that can do that, my hat's off to them.
And Darrell, what I think has happened with Matt Kenseth, he caught Mark, but his car was pushing and not turning either. And when he got up behind Mark, now he's losing some ground because his car's not turning.
Now, Larry, let's do the math. Who can win the most money here tonight?
I would say the 6 car, Mark.
I would say so. And I would say that if I was driving that 17 car, I'd be pulling for him to win every bit of it.
Well, Kenseth has won twice this year.
Mark hadn't won.
April of 2000 in Martinsville was Mark's last win. So there's no question who wants it more. Janet Hogan of Sterling, Virginia is Mark Martin's biggest fan. If he wins, she wins the Noble $5 million as well.
Probably hearing on Matt Kence's radio. Matt, go to channel 2.
We got about 13 laps to go.
Looking good.
But see, the reason this can't happen like it does in Formula One is Matt's sponsors need for him to win. Mark's sponsors need for him to win. You just can't afford to play team politics when there's this much money and this much at stake.
Yeah, but got to remember something. Those cars are owned by the same guy. I remember when Neil and I drove for Junior. I mean, you know, we do things to help each other and what made the most sense. So we'll see how this works out. Actually, I won a race at Nashville. Neil took the checkered flag. I won the race. Junior protested the race because I should have won the race. He owned both cars.
We talk about owner. Mark Martin owns a piece of that 17 car. He's partly responsible while Matt Kenseth is driving that 17 car.
Well, that may even be more influence on Matt.
Maybe Mark Martin saying, hey, Matt, go to channel 2.
That's right. Folks, channel 2 is kind of like your private channel where you discuss things you don't want nobody to hear.
The difference is 0.2 of a second. 11 laps to go.
And what he keeps making a run up to Mark's rear bumper, and he'll run about 0.2 of a lap quicker than Mark. Then he backs off and runs about 0.2 of a lap slower. We're looking at our Fox track now. This is miles per hour. Leader, Mark Martin. Matt Kenseth in second. There you see the interval, about 0.2 of a second.
Jimmy Johnson is the fastest car on the racetrack, but he has only moved up as far as 8th place.
Yeah, and he restarted in 9th, and, you know, he just hadn't been able to, actually in 10th, he got by Bill Elliott on the start there and just hadn't been able to move forward. That's a shame. Have a car that good.
Dominate the race, one little mistake. Stopped too far forward over the pit box, had to back up, and now he's an 8th place car.
And he's been there since that restart, as Darrell talked about. The only pass he's made was on Bill Elliott on the restart.
Leaders in race traffic. Mark Martin opens up a little bit of an advantage. Goes underneath Jerry Nadeau. Johnny Benson expected back in that 10 car for Pocono in 2 weeks. Nursing broken ribs. Now they pull up on Steve Martin.
Here comes Kenseth right back up on the back of him. And I think
8 laps to go this time.
I think that 17 is quite content.
Well, in second in the points, this would be a good points run for him as well, since our points leader right now, Sterling Marlin, sitting back in 11th.
Yeah,
make a few gains.
Sterling's car just hadn't handled that well tonight.
And Jeff Gordon, he's in 5th place.
Not for long.
Right off Ricky Rudd.
Got a pretty good run on Ricky here. Let's see who wins the race into 3. Ricky carries it in high. A little more speed there, but Jeff should be quicker through the center of the corner. And they'll meet in the middle.
Close. When the sun was out, Gordon was against the wall. Now it's nighttime. He's down on that white line, hugging it. This battle's about 6.5 seconds behind our leader. Ricky Craven likes what these guys are doing because he's sitting up there in 3rd, and he ran a half a second quicker than those guys running side by side.
And boy, that's a great night for Ricky Craven and that team.
Craven on track for a 3rd place finish. Here are the leaders.
Yes, sir. Old Mark sitting there saying, kiss me some money, baby. I'm going to Victory Circle.
All right, Darrell, we know these drivers make a lot of money, have big homes, several of them. They have the $1 million motor coach. How much is an extra $1 million really worth to a driver?
Oh, man, there was sparks off it. Somebody's car. Oh, it's Hut Strickland. That's a good question, Mike. I looked up and saw those sparks. You know, I got to tell you, I think I'm correct when I say this. I know in my generation, in my era it wasn't about the money.
4, buddy, 5 more.
It's about winning the Coca-Cola 600. It's about winning one of the toughest races there is to win. And particularly when you're Mark Martin and haven't won a race in over a year.
But how about that fan down there? How about that $1 million for this fan?
Yeah, that fan.
Now that is $1 million. That's where $1 million is worth something.
That's right. That fan is looking forward to this race.
4 laps to go. Next time by, they're catching more lap traffic. Kyle Petty in the 45 car. He's hung on the lead lap all night long. He's in 13th.
Roush Racing looking for their 4th straight 600-mile win here at Charlotte.
With 3 different drivers, Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, and a few laps away from Mark Martin.
You should have seen the 24. They're getting after it here. The 24 and the 28 are.
You'd think this was for $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
Right here, it's for 4th place.
Gordon gets under. Oh, we got a car spinning off the corner down here.
Mike Skinner. Everybody coming through the cloud of smoke. No caution.
No caution. He's going to get the car back on the racetrack. Boy, these cars are coming at him. About 10 cars coming at him.
Come on. Come on.
And during all that, Mark Martin pulled away from Matt Kenseth. That was 3 laps to go that time.
A lot of traffic ahead, though. Martin splits traffic.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely forcing the issue now because he wants to get away from Kenseth.
And he'd love to put those 3-lap cars. Look at Kenseth, though. Look at him wrestling that thing. He knows there's 2 laps to go next time by.
Mark Martin threaded that needle through traffic.
Oh, more traffic, more trouble. Ooh, baby!
He's on a mission.
Boy, but Mark is not checking up for anybody.
2 laps to go.
Mark Martin's driving that thing like it's worth $1 million.
And more. That's just the bonus that's the $1 million.
Yeah, that's not counting the purse money, which is several $100,000. I haven't seen Mark drive like this in a year.
He has only led 42 laps. Jimmy Johnson led 263. Ricky Rudd led 49 laps.
And he's catching the cars in exactly the right places. He gets his nose down under him, puts the cars between he and Kenseth. 1 to go, baby.
White flag.
Mark, you are the man tonight.
Mark Martin has never won the Noble $1 million bonus. This is his 9th try at it. He hasn't won since April of 2002, agonizing years.
Boy, he's got just a little bit more traffic here. Here comes Kenseth.
A little bit more. He's got a lot of traffic.
Kenseth is in worse shape. He's hung up back here as well.
Mark Martin has never won the 600 at Charlotte.
He has now.
Now he has. Mark Martin wins the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600.
Here comes Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon and out. Jeff Gordon just
That's a battle for 5th. Battle for 5th. And Jimmy Johnson ends up in 7th. Look at this group. Boy, that is a happy bunch.
Well, they split the bonus with Mark and the rest of that team. On Memorial Day weekend, a real racing veteran wins the Coke 600.
You've got it.
It's his 4th win here at Charlotte in 35 starts. 19 years of trying. Mark Martin has finally won the 600.
Uh-oh, where's he going here, guys? Where is he going?
I believe Martin we hadn't seen in a long time.
Darryl,
the happy boy.
He's going anywhere he wants.
How about that?
Let me tear up this infield.
And you know what? These fans are loving it. I don't know if there's anybody here that didn't want to see Mark Martin win this race.
Oh, that's a great win.
It's his 33rd career victory, his 22nd Super Speedway win, and it's the 4th straight Ford win in NASCAR's longest race.
And I'm proud for Ben Leslie, his crew chief, never won a Winston Cup race. Remember, the crew swap with Kurt Busch and Mark Martin at the beginning of the year. Both these race teams are better. Listen to them.
$1 million richer is this woman right here, Janet Hogan of Sterling, Virginia.
Look, did you see that face?
Dick Bergeron with Mark Martin's crew.
Ben Leslie never won one of these things as a crew chief. How gut-wrenching were those last 5 or 10 laps?
It was terrible, especially to be up against Matt Kenseth, who I was fortunate enough to be involved with when he won the Coke 600. And as it worked a year, I knew how good he could get up on the wheel. I mean, it was something that it was real gut-wrenching because Matt actually was a little bit faster. Like I say, I'd like to take this second to dedicate this race to a real good friend of mine who died about 2 weeks ago, Big Jim Klopfelter. This race is for him.
And this place is full of people from Kenseth's pit and from Mark Martin's pit. The whole Roush organization is crowded around. To Matt.
Well, Dick, Matt Kenseth nearly pulled off his second Coke 600 victory. Lap cars get in the way, Matt.
Well, a little bit, you know, but they're out there racing for position too. So in that position, you gotta get everything you can get. Real proud of my DeWalt guys. We had an uphill battle all day, and you know, I think we broke a valve spring or something right at the end, and I had to let off the gas real early. So I thought like we had a little bit better car than Mark, but he had a good car, and I'm happy to see him win. Maybe I'll put him in a better mood.
Certainly, though, definitely, I think that'll happen. We might see a smile from Mark, but certainly Roush Racing had a great night tonight. General must be smiling.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we ran really good. I mean, we were a threat to win it. You know, the 48 was definitely the class of the field and has problems in the pits, but the 6 was there all night. We were there all night, and you know, I feel real good about our DeWalt AT&T crew. They did a good job.
Matt Kenseth, second top 5 in the Coke 600.
Now, let me get this right. Matt thinks he broke a valve spring. Darrell thinks he broke his money clip.
But I like what he said. Maybe Mark will be in a little bit better mood now.
Show me the money.
I love it.
Following the money trail to victory lane.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm happy for the fan. I mean, you think about it.
Kenseth second, as we've seen. Ricky Craven finishes third. Ricky Rudd is fourth. Jeff Gordon fifth. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace are the top 10. Dick Berggren's with the third-place finisher.
And Ricky Craven has just sat on the roof of his race car, not feeling well. How rough a run was that?
It's great when you're disappointed with third, isn't it? You know, I wanted to win this race so bad. I circled this race back in January. This is the one I wanted, but we came up short, so I'm going to have to get Mike his Southern 500. And we're in the No Bowl race in Daytona, so that's always exciting. And anybody can, you know, use a little extra cash. And Winston's been quite generous. So it was a great night, a great effort. I mean, I'm so proud of these guys. We're running in-house chassis. Yates has given us awesome power, and they make it pretty easy on me.
If you're wondering how demanding this is, take a look at this man's face. To Matt.
Well, Jeff Gordon, where do we begin? What a night of adjustability for you and this team.
Well, I tell you, it's just a great effort. I think this shows a lot about, you know, the strength of this team. I mean, they're not going to give up, and a top 5 right now means a whole lot to us, and I think I showed how much it meant to me when I was battling Stewart and Rudd there at on the last lap. That was a great battle. I had to run them down low. I mean, when you got a No Bowl million on the line in Daytona for the Pepsi 400, can't give up those top 5s. And thought I had a shot at Rudd for 4th, but guys just did a great job adjusting the DuPont Chevrolet. Just can't thank them enough. It's an awesome night for us.
What about a wild run to the finish?
You know, I mean, these days you got to battle hard for every position, and you know, I just thank God that it was a safe race. And me and Stewart were bumping and banging. I love racing him. I don't know if he was upset at me there or not, but I think when he cools down, he'll know why. But why we had to race like that. But you know, I just can't thank DuPont and Quaker State Pepsi, GMAC, Fritos, and Tropicana, everybody on board here, Lowe's. I thought Jimmy's going to win that thing tonight. It's unfortunate to see him fall back there, that pit stop. But it was a great pit stop there. That last one got us up in the top 5, and the adjustments were perfect. If I could just got a little bit better track position, we'd have been styling.
In 19 starts at Charlotte, Jeff Gordon earns his 10th top 5 finish.
And as he said, he got that 5th place finish, which puts him in the No Bowl 5 at Daytona. Welcome to our Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 post-race show, where Mark Martin and a lucky fan are each going to get $1 million bonus for winning the 600 here at Charlotte tonight. Victory Lane has been moved from its traditional position behind pit road out to the front straightaway so all the fans can enjoy it. For the first time in 2 years, Mark Martin is going to climb out in our Circuit City Winners Circle.
Celebrating with his son Matt.
Janet, where's Janet?
Mark, Janet, you get $1 million bonus, but perhaps more importantly, last year people wrote you off. They questioned your will to win, and here you are in victory lane.
Right here now. Right there. Now she's a millionaire. She's a millionaire. But I'm giving most all mine away to these guys. I told them they could win that race. They could have most of my part of that money, a big part of it. I might keep just a little bit. But I can't win in a slow car. And this Viagra team, they buckled down. They put me in a race car that could win. They gave me the lead with 4 tires. And everything was perfect.
Well, let's talk to the newest millionaire. How excited are you?
I don't even know what to say. It's hard to believe, but I've been saying it all week. We're going to win. I said, Mark Martin's going to win.
Can he drive or what?
And now, Mark, you said earlier this season you thought a win was around the corner, but the wins are not guaranteed. Will you savor this one? It's been so long.
I don't know if I'll ever win another one. You can believe.
I'm going to party all night, and I don't even drink. We'll have lots of Gatorade, and just want to thank, you know, the Maxwell House and the Kraft brand and Goodyear for such a great tire. And Ford Taurus gave me the lead, though. They're the ones that won this race.
But Mark, personally, is it vindicating for you after you were written off?
Nah, I don't know how we're going to win over. We got to start studying tonight.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark Martin and our Circuit City Winner's Circle. Circuit City, we're with you. Boy, that clock turns back to 0 pretty quickly, Darrell.
It's a typical driver. You never can enjoy this one because you got to worry about the next one.
More to come.
He'll study while he parties, though.
That's right. We'll be right back. 263 laps. Ricky Rudd led nearly 50, but Mark Martin was the man in front when it counted. He'll win the winner's share of the purse, plus at Winston Noble $1 million bonus. First win in 2 years for Mark Martin. But how about the man who broke the Ironman record tonight? Ricky Rudd is with Dick Berggren.
Ricky Rudd, you had a real nice run tonight. What was it like out there?
Well, through the checker flag about the middle stages of the race, we might have had something for him, but we didn't. We got pushing real bad at the end. Worst we've run all night was right at the end. That was kind of our luck, but you know, we had a chance to look like to move into third, and then caught Craven in our front end, started pushing really bad, and then we had to hold off Gordon and Stewart, who were coming pretty hard.
The Ironman, you don't even look tired, are you?
Not really. You know, it's pretty nice. Had the AC going tonight. Had it on cruise control. It wasn't that bad.
Congratulations on a great night. 4th place for Ricky Rudd.
Dick, Jimmy Johnson led 263 laps. The dominating race car didn't win. How disappointing, Jimmy.
It is. It's very disappointing. And, you know, when we won California, we led a lot, but we weren't the dominant car. Kurt was, and he didn't win. So there's a lot of times in the sport where the dominant car doesn't win. It's the smartest guy. And I made a mistake at the end there and slid through my pit stall, trying to get everything I could on pit road.
That was the backbreaker?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, track position is so important. Our guys have been nailing the stops. Whoever came out in first or second on that restart was going to be the one who brought home the trophy, but a small mistake cost us.
Jimmy Johnson scores his 8th top 10 this season. Dick?
Robbie Gordon right now is getting some ice cold water poured down his back. They worked on his leg a little bit. How you feeling?
I feel okay. You know, I'm obviously a little tired, or a lot tired. It was very hot today. Biggest thing was the cramps. I got a cramp in my stomach at one time, and then I got a cramp for like the last 30 laps in my right leg. And, you know, we knew we had to score some points here. We knew we had to run hard and score some points, and we made up a couple positions there at the end. So, you know, I'm very proud of everybody here on the Singular team and everybody over there at the IRL team that did that car today. You know, we thought we were going to have it for them, and we just came up a bit short in both ends. We were when we got our car right, we were as good as the leaders, but here for a while, as soon as it went dark, I was extremely loose, and that just wore me out for, you know, 2 full tank runs. I was turning more right than I was left.
How long would it take before you're ready to go race again?
Oh, no, I'm going to be wounded for a while. You know, hats off to Tony. This is a lot of work, and, you know, we had 2 good runs. We got inside the top 5 here for a little while. We got inside the top 5 over there for a little while. A little disappointed with our finish at the Indy 500, and, you know, we just missed it a little bit here. Gil Martin, he definitely knows how to tune on this car. You know, we were tight. I begged him to free me up, and I was just a little bit too loose for 2 runs there. He got it really good at the end where I was able to get a lap back from Jimmy Johnson, but, you know, it was a good day. Thanks, everybody from Singular, for allowing us to do this, and Richard Childress Racing and Richard Childress for coming down and calling the Indy 500 for us. It was a lot of fun.
Congratulations. Indy 500, Coca-Cola Racing Family 600, all in one day. To Mike Joy.
8th at Indy, 16th at Charlotte, 1,100 miles of racing today for Robbie Gordon. A lot of fireworks and a lot of Jack.
Get that right.
Have you looked down through the final standings?
A lot of veterans in that top 10. Mark Martin, Ricky Craven, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, Michael Waltrip, Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace. They're all there.
And a lot of fellows who weren't great at the start of this race in broad daylight.
What I love
come out at night and come to the front.
What I love most, though, is the emotion. The emotion of Mark Martin winning his first race in 2 years. The disappointment of Jimmy Johnson losing a race that he dominated. So much emotion in the top 10 or 15 guys there. Robbie Gordon, you know, disappointed with his finish at Indy, but seemed to be happy with tonight. Probably just because he made it.
And you know, the irony of Jimmy Johnson losing this race, it sounded like he needed a caution because he didn't have enough fuel to go the distance. He contributes to a caution coming out, but they choke on that last pit stop.
Let's have a look at the Winston Cup points. Sterling Marlin now 87 points ahead of Matt Kenseth. Kenseth eating into Marlin's lead substantially. Mark Martin third. Jeff Gordon, rookie Jimmy Johnson, the top 5 in the Winston Cup standings. Mark Martin celebrates with that $1 million bonus, the champagne, and more. Wonder if they're serving champagne down in the Hollywood Hotel.
Oh, caviar to go with it. You
I'd
can
say
count on that.
chances are.
Not yet. Just something to kind of get us going on the rest of this holiday weekend. Right. Mark Martin using NASCAR's longest race to end his 2-year victory drought. And big payoff. The cash is flowing.
It really is. Woo! Yeah, here it is.
Winston
here, too.
$1 million.
All right.
Somebody dropped your wallet.
I'll loan you
All right. And Janet Hogan from Sterling, Virginia, the fan who cashes in on the $1 million. Okay. Look, only the second time that a driver over the age of 41 has won this year with Mark Martin. Sterling Marlin, of course, has won twice. So the senior crowd, the veteran crowd coming through in this featured race.
It really is. I mean, we talked about it early on that you need to have that experience and knowing how much to hold back and when it's time to run and when it's time not to hold a little bit. And I think that Mark Martin was ready to go when it came time. He took advantage of somebody else's miscue and he capped it off.
And we heard from Jimmy Johnson, pole sitter, in trouble getting in and out of the pits on a consistent basis. Some of the experience that you talked about all night.
I really think so, because when you go down on pit road, there are certain shadows, and every now and then you can misjudge your distance. And let's face it, this was really one of his first times he had to really deal with that during the course of the night. So he may have made a little bit of a mistake, and it cost him right there at the end when it really mattered.
A beautiful night on a holiday weekend and another full weekend of racing across the Fox networks beginning Friday on FX with NASCAR Winston Cup qualifying live from Dover. Jeff Gordon, who has yet to win this year, won last year at Dover. Saturday on FX, NASCAR Winston Cup final practice followed by the MBNA Platinum 200. And on Sunday, you can start your race day with NASCAR in the morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice. That's on Fox Sports Net, followed by the MBNA Platinum 400 on FX. And get the full wrap-up of all the activity on NASCAR Victory Lane, all access on Fox Sports Net. And also, don't forget Speed Channel, the home of NASCAR TV. It's there for you all the time. Nothing gets you closer to NASCAR. UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR, delivering a chance to win 4 tickets to the moon. No, just kidding. Want to make sure you were paying attention. To the 2003 Daytona 500 on Fox. All you have to do is log on to foxsports.com, keyword UPS Racing. An extended weekend and an extended race. 600 miles. Ricky Rudd setting the consecutive starts record. 656th time he opened. In the twilight of his career, he finished 4th, led the race as the sun faded. Mark Martin winning his first race, a victory for Roush Racing, his first victory in 2 years. And we want to thank all of our crew that worked so hard to bring you racing. Coordinating director of NASCAR on Fox, Artie Kempner. Producer Neil Goldberg. Pit producers Pam Miller and David Black. Technical producers Steve Stum and Marvin Cale. Opening sequence produced by Gary Lang. And the associate directors, Greg Scopatone, we call him Scope. Barry Landis and Derek Manning, we call him D-Rock. The associate producers, Bill Richards. Broadcast associates, Charles McDonald and Judy Wong. Coordinating producer of NASCAR on Fox, Richie Zions, we call him Z. Senior producer, Bill Brown. Executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. From the gang all here, enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox.